Hello everybody and welcome back to the TripleJump podcast. It's a video game podcast. My name is Ben.
My name is Peter.
And my name is Ashton.
Good afternoon. Good evening.
Whoa.
Good evening.
Good evening.
Steady now.
Yeah, it is 5 to 6 p.m.
PM.
on Thursday the 8th. We're all in the office late today because we're here for Summer Game Singular Fest that's on tonight. And we thought, why not just do the podcast? Keep ourselves entertained for a few hours between normal work end time and showtime. So we're doing the podcast.
This is, I think, a first for us. I don't think we've ever recorded the podcast this late in the day.
No.
I think it's always been in the morning, either on Thursday or a Wednesday or sometimes a Friday, potentially.
And it's also, we may have done it once before, but it's a very rare thing that if we have a thing to do in the evening, that we would all stay here. I think occasionally some of us have stayed, but we've never had a little sleepover like this and stayed after work into the evening.
Yeah.
It's very exciting.
So, as it stands at the time of recording, we are mere hours away from Summer Game Fest.
Who?
Hello?
Mere hours.
A mere hours.
Mere hours.
Yeah.
She's the wife of Ethan, isn't she? From the... It doesn't matter.
Winters.
Yeah. Whatever. You disrupted me, so I thought
yeah.
I'd just disrupted even
Yeah,
more.
cool.
We are hours away from Summer Game Fest. The big discussion will involve us talking about Summer Game Fest tomorrow at the time of recording, but as it stands, it's not yet happened. We've got some questions. We've got some potentially. I don't know. Is it a section we've ever done before?
No.
Maybe. But first off, of course, we need to talk about this week's sponsor, which is very real, very video game adjacent.
Yeah.
Helps us keep the lights on here. Does Dead Island 2 The Spider work this late?
Yeah, he's still in my bathroom. He's actually got closer now. He used to be on the ceiling in the far corner. And now he's down right next to the bowl.
Whoa.
So every time I go in, I say, hello, please don't move off your web. Just stay where you
Stay
are.
there.
Thank you so
Does
much.
he get a lot of food in there? Are there a lot of flies in there for Dead Island
Not
2 The
really.
Spider?
I've not noticed a lot of
Pretty
flies.
surviving though.
Yeah.
Amazing.
But is he thriving? Anyway, Peter,
Peter, you got the ad there.
what's this week's sponsor?
I've got an ad here. So as you may have noticed by the time this goes out, it's been a bit of a strange week for us, stream schedule-wise. You two did a swap, didn't you? Thursday we didn't do a joint stream because we were waiting for, well, it was a joint stream, but it was a different one because we were doing some Game Fest.
Yeah.
And then also James is away. He's not
Yeah.
done his stream.
No.
He's away at some music events, music festival.
Yeah.
So
Download.
or other, some music festival or other,
Right.
maybe download. But fortunately, despite not being in the office, he was still able to do his duty for the company, and he's actually managed to secure a sponsor for us
Oh, wow.
from Download.
Yeah.
So we are sponsored today by the festival where he has been right now in the nice warm weather. Summer James Fest.
Summer Jame.
Well, it's
singular.
it's erroneously people say James Fest, but it's just a singular Jame.
Yeah. One Jame.
Summer Jame Fest,
Right.
have
Cool.
sponsored us.
That's amazing.
What happens at Summer Jame Fest?
Yeah.
You go, maybe with or without your friend Jame, or hopefully more than one of your friends Jame.
And then it would be the plural.
James.
Yeah, James. A few James, and then you listen to some music in the sun at the fest.
Who's it hosted by?
Jeff Keighley. Is it?
Well, he's so busy
He's
at
really
the moment.
busy.
That's amazing.
He's
Wow.
so busy.
Summer Game Fest.
Yeah.
Summer Jame Fest.
What more can this man do?
Dunno.
But definitely this,
And his
right?
best mate Hideo Kojima.
Yes, indeed. And I sure hope that Jeff remembers to take his blazer off and just go for the t-shirt
Yeah.
rather than the combo when he gets to a very
It's more
warm
relaxed
fest.
at Summer Jame Fest.
Yeah. It's not actually real.
Oh.
He doesn't have time to do that. It would be real if we asked him and he said, "I'm sorry, I'm really tired."
Any other week,
Yeah.
and I would have been
He
there.
would have been there at Summer Jame Fest.
Yeah.
Not this
Damn.
time.
No,
Damn it.
sadly not.
Gosh,
but
darn
James is
it.
at Download.
Yeah, he is actually at a
download.
festival.
He is, yeah. No, we're not sponsored by Summer Jame Fest, unfortunately, but we are sponsored by our wonderful patrons over at patreon.com/Team TripleJump. And if you support us at a certain tier, no, that's the wrong bit. I've just watched two of our videos back to back. That's the problem.
$1 per month.
For as little as $1 per month,
You can ask
submit questions
to this podcast.
You can also, for $5, get Worst Games Ever.
Yeah.
and weirdest,
Weirdest
games ever.
Games
I
Ever
watched
early.
both worst and weirdest games ever today, just before recording this thing. That's what's throwing me off. Everything's throwing me off today because it's a strange time of day to be
And
doing
this room is boiling hot.
It's musty. We are in here after the Wrestle Boys have been in. Usually it's the other way around, and It has a smell. It's not unpleasant. I want to clarify.
Oh my God.
It's not unpleasant.
You just called them stinky.
It smells of boys. They were in here for literal hours. So, it's going to smell of boys.
There is a level of warmth in here that I'm not used to. Normally 10 a.m. it's not quite very warm in here.
I'm also not used to doing a podcast having had like a full lunch on my belly. And
yeah, you're feeling a bit sleepy.
Yeah, and it's kind of like, it's not repeating on me, but I just feel like I'm just full, and I'm trying to speak, and it's like, oh, come on. But I'll do my best.
Listen, we're all good. We're all martyrs
He's a real
here.
trooper.
We're going to suffer through. But if you do want to support us, you can go to patreon.com/Team TripleJump. Loads of tiers available. But at the $1 tier, you can submit questions to this podcast. Just like
Hannah O'Neill Blunsum.
No, you can't have a sip. You
No,
were ready to have a sip.
Put your water down.
I'm not doing it. Hi, Bap. Having recently seen Jeff Keighley's interview that said he didn't kill E3 and it wasn't competition for Summer Game Fest, do you think there is special... do you think there's space in the scene for both an E3 type event where fans can go and still experience the atmosphere of that and have the more non-in-person events such as Summer Game Fest? Thank you, Hannah.
Thank you,
Hannah. Can I tell you a secret?
Yeah.
Mine are the wrong way around for some reason.
What did you do?
My question 2 is the question 1, and I'm the one
How did you do that?
I have no idea. So when you started reading it, I was like, what the hell are you talking about? That's question 2.
Oh.
Anyway, sorry.
It's all going really well.
Yeah.
Strange. I've got a little excerpt here from the original article where his interview was written up. So he was on the Video Games Chronicle podcast, and then they did a written article about it as well. In an interview on the latest episode of the VGC podcast, Keighley was asked how he felt about his reputation in some corners of the internet as, quote, the E3 killer.
It's a sick name, to be fair.
He said, I think E3 sort of killed itself in a way. I understand why people say Summer Game Fest killed E3, but I think, if anything, we created Summer Game Fest and I built Summer Game Fest because I saw the wheels falling off the wagon of E3. As someone who loves that time of year, for 2 decades, E3 was part of my life since I was a 15-year-old kid. From the first E3 in 1995, I went to every show. I loved it, and it defined my summer. It was so exciting to me, and it was heartbreaking to see that start to fall apart. I think they had a relevancy problem, and then they also had a participation problem over the final years. So yeah, I think the question is, if we didn't do Summer Game Fest, what would happen? I think things would have been just kind of really splintered. I think things would have just kind of really splintered apart this summer.
I just like to say, Jeff, that it's really easy to see the wheels falling off the wagon when you're the one kicking them off.
Whoa.
I was going to say, where is the lie? I mean, he's absolutely telling the truth.
No, he
there.
is for sure.
However, what did E3 do to Jeff Keighley?
I know.
Like, any opportunity, he's like, yeah, well, it was crap, wasn't it?
They're not even dead. They're literally not even dead yet. Like, they're on life support, but they're not dead yet, Jeff.
I guess
he's like planning their funeral. And
he just does not hold back, does he?
No.
To play, I can't. It's not going to happen. I'm not going to get to the end. To play devil's advocate, I wonder if maybe he's not actually mad at E3 and thinks it was crap, but he's mad at the fact that everyone else calls him the E3 killer.
Right.
And
I mean,
just
that
by
would stick in your
association,
craw,
he's like, well, E3 was rubbish anyway. It's not my fault. Like, he's having to be defensive about it, potentially. I don't know. I think, I mean, as you say, Ben, where's the lie? Like, I don't disagree with what Jeff has said. I think it's true that E3 was having issues, and I don't think necessarily it was because there was this like big bit of competition in Summer Game Fest. Maybe you could say now that if you were a studio wanting to release your game and you had the option of going to Summer Game Fest or going to E3, and maybe you could only go to one, you probably would be more tempted to go to Summer Game Fest. Discounting the fact that E3 doesn't even exist at the present time, but, you know, hypothetically. So certainly now it might be the case that there is a kind of a competition and there's a favor towards Summer Game Fest. But I do think it was just kind of, it was an issue of, really, it's the age we live in where it's probably cheaper and in a way you have more control to put together like a nice trailer, a nice sort of video package, and just get Jeff to roll it as part of a larger event, rather than potentially doing a on-stage thing at E3 and having someone ask you questions like, is this an early April Fool's joke? Or I don't even know if that was at an E3. I think it was, wasn't it?
Maybe at a BlizzCon.
Yeah, it might have been a BlizzCon. But, things like that have happened. Or there are like awkward moments where people are dealing with the audience or technical issues, which could still happen at Summer Game Fest, of course, but less so if most of the content is presented simply with a VT rather than a kind of on-stage mic in hand interview. Jeff's really the only person who does the actual talking, and occasionally he might just quickly bring on a developer for 5 minutes.
Or Animal from the Muppets.
Or Animal from the Muppets.
This is a fascinating topic, and I feel like someone should make a video about this and potentially have put it out yesterday at the time of the release of this podcast.
That would be really good. Yeah.
What went wrong with E3 now up on our YouTube channel?
Yeah, check it out. James did a great
job.
Go
and watch it, and it basically covers a lot of the points we're gonna hit here, but it really goes in depth. So go check it out.
I think that it is a shame that E3 is kind of fallen down this hole. I think that, do I think Jeff Keighley killed it? No. Do I have beef with Jeff Keighley? A little bit, yes. Because I feel like no one man...
Does Jeff Keighley have beef with you?
No, he doesn't know that we have beef. But I just feel like it's a bit weird how much... Power's not the right word, but hold on the video game announcement industry that Jeff Keighley has.
Yeah.
The fact that he has Summer Game Fest, Opening Night Live, and the Game Awards, 3 of the biggest events of the year, and now he single-handedly killed E3. How dare he?
He did do it.
He did do it.
We all
He's
saw
a
him
murderer.
do it.
And I just don't really feel like he should have this much, not power, but I don't know what the word is, but you know what I mean.
He runs it.
He runs it. This is his thing.
Like a monopoly in a way.
Yeah, exactly. He has a real monopoly over video game announcements, because when people watch Gamescom stuff, most people just watch Opening Night Live and then we'll see the odd tidbit from throughout the week. Whereas now we've obviously got Summer Game Fest, which up until this year, I was under the impression that's just one show that Jeff does and everything else is separate. But from the way things have been framed this year, from his Twitter account, the Summer Game Fest Twitter account, the website, all of these shows are part of Summer Game Fest, but just on the DL. No one's talking about it apart from Jeff.
Yeah, they don't really have much Summer Game Fest branding in and of their own right, but they've all agreed to sort of sit under the umbrella.
Of the Summer Game Fest
He has
umbrella.
made his own showcase E3,
which is fine, and I'm glad that it's nice to have this organization of maybe hey, Xbox, you can't do your showcase today because I'm doing mine. Great, brilliant. There is still one clash, which may be a problem later on, but hey, who cares? And I just think that it's weird that all of these shows kind of have been co-opted by Jeff under this Summer Game Fest umbrella, on the DL, where they've kind of not talked about it until they've been thanks so much for Xbox for joining the Summer Game Fest week. And I'm week? What are you talking about? It's just one show, Jeff. It's just 2 hours of my time.
They were definitely calling it a week at least last year, if not the year before as well. But I don't think they were necessarily actually co-opting stuff. They were just sort of saying it's Summer Game Fest week. And they did some officially branded stuff towards the end of that week, smaller indie stuff. But yeah, now it's it is more of an E3 feeling event right now.
But the only thing that's lacking is any kind of IRL showing, any kind of conference event where people can go. Obviously, they've got a show where you can go and watch Summer Game Fest, just the one showcase, but everything else is completely digital in the same way we've seen before. Obviously, we don't know if they're going to have the whole awkward presentation of, hi, welcome to Ubisoft Forward. We can't believe you're here. So nice to have you.
We can't believe you're here.
And they're in the void,
You wanted to come and see Skull and Bones? Idiots.
We didn't prepare.
It's not even I can't believe you're here. You really can't.
Eve, put the kettle on.
But yeah, and it's a shame that there's no IRL stuff. So if Jeff did kill E3, I would like it if
Is he responsible
single-handedly
creating a replacement?
Is he responsible? Yeah, exactly. This is the real question. Is he going to actually replace what E3 was? Because he's saying I loved going to all the conferences. I've been going for 20 years.
But it was crap though.
But it was crap, and I hated it, and I killed it.
And I did it better.
And so it's well, everything you might have enjoyed about that, about seeing games, getting hands-on experience, talking to other people, surely that should be something that you're trying to bring forward into this new. I didn't kill E3, but Summer Game Fest is everything it was, but better, Hey
guys, Jeff Keighley, more like Jeff Keighley 3.
Whoa, Jeff Steely.
Yeah.
I agree that there's a little bit of confusion about now kind of what Summer Game Fest actually is, because I thought I was going mad. When I read this question from Hannah, I thought, hang on, isn't there a hands-on portion to Summer Game Fest this year, and I thought I was going insane because I was like, I haven't heard anything about this, but I swear they said
for Gorilla
last year
Showcase there is.
that they were no, but like for Summer Game Fest.
Oh, right.
Because last year there were headlines, and I looked it up, and it is real, and it's in the link dump. Let's see. I've got a quote here. I'll see if I can find it in my own notes. From Nintendo Life, Jeff Keighley announces physical event for Summer Game Fest 2023. This was last year, and lots of articles wrote up about it and said, well, potentially that puts them head-to-head in the same week with E3. They're both going to have hands-on. I can't find any information about hands-on at Summer Game Fest this week. If they are talking about Summer Game Fest week, then maybe the Guerrilla Collective falls under that. However,
but that's the only thing I've seen where they've had like, oh, we're doing our showcase, but then if you're in LA in this certain location, you can come and get hands-on with games. But every other showcase is just purely
it's
digital
just a showcase. And according to their own website, it says, can I attend SGF in person? Public tickets for the SGF showcase event on Thursday, the 8th of June at the YouTube Theatre in LA are available at Ticketmaster. By the way, at the time of recording, there's still loads left, and they're $10.
But they have got an in-person event, technically.
Yeah, but that's it. Keep in mind, this event is a live stream show of upcoming games with trailers, with special game developer guests. It does not feature hands-on consumer gameplay.
Right, yeah.
So clearly they've course corrected in the past year.
Yeah.
For a brief minute, I thought my answer to this was going to be, well, Summer Game Fest is clearly going to try and do that. They've changed their tune. They're not going to do that for whatever reason. A little bit more clarification. It's not the most complicated thing in the world, right? You can find loads of articles. I've been looking at a Eurogamer one all week that says, here are all the events that are happening and when to tune in. But
I made a really handy video last week if you wanted to
You
watch
did?
that with all the dates and stuff in.
What's it called, Ashton?
It's called What's Happening in June.
No, it's not. It's not called.
That is what it's called.
Is it
What's Out in June is the name of the video, and then at the end it says gaming forecast, but the main bit is What's Out in June.
What's
Okay.
happening
What's
in June?
happening
What's Out in June is what it's called, with a bunch of others. Watch that. Hey, watch that.
Go and watch that. But the point is that, yes, we are in sort of a state of flux, specifically with Summer Game Fest, where it's clearly evolving into something, but we're not really quite sure what it is yet. I thought there was a hands-on aspect. Clearly, there isn't. They said there would be. No one seems to be talking about it because I searched news stories from the past month and there's no mention of any physical events. Wikipedia even says something about it as well. Let's see if I can find that on my notes. Blah, blah, blah. I can't. You were going to make a point, Ashton.
I was going to say it's kind of like the opposite of how E3 started, in the sense of like E3 was a consumer, like not a consumer event, but it was for people to come and try the games, all the suits. And then eventually became for the public, and they were like, you can watch the showcases online, but you can also mainly do the conference and go and see the shop floor almost. But now it's very much the opposite of, you can watch the games, but you can't touch the games.
Yes. Wikipedia says it's a combined digital and physical event for the first time. That's just not true.
Right.
So clearly there's a bit of a miscommunication about what this was going to be at some point versus what it is now. I don't have a problem with it not being a physical event. In fact, I actually prefer it not to be a physical event because I think it's simpler. Everyone that's falling under the Summer Game Fest banner clearly prefers that because it's cheaper.
Yeah.
They can pre-record it. They can do it at their own leisure, as you say. There's no cringe, which is a shame a little bit. We'll get a bit of cringe, I
Far
think.
less cringe, but still always a chance for cringe.
There's always a light sprinkling of cringe for sure. There's even a section on Summer Game Fest website that says, because Jeff doesn't have a complex about this, so you shut up. It says, was SGF created to replace E3? And it says, now in its fourth year, SGF is not a trade show, but an entirely new concept, a digital cross-industry festival accessible to fans around the world. So it doesn't really go into
It's an
much
entirely
detail.
new concept, is it?
To answer Hannah's question, I think in-person events already exist. You've got EGX, you've got PAX, you've got Gamescom, you've got Tokyo Game Show. There's loads of sort of regional variants as well, smaller ones, more broad ones like Comic-Con. We go into all of this in the What Went Wrong video. You should watch that. But I actually preferred E3 when it was more of not a trade show as such, because that was very dry, but like more of a press-focused event. When it started to decline was when they opened it up to the public. And I don't think that's necessarily, there's not a direct correlation there. Causation. I don't think letting people in made E3 die. In fact, that was the way they tried to prolong it. But I don't think Summer Game Fest needs to be that. And I don't think necessarily something like E3 needs to exist either, because clearly it wasn't it just didn't function. Something of that scale and size didn't work. Doesn't mean you can't have another go at it, but Summer Game Fest I feel like is Jeff's kind of nailed it. Like, it is what it needs to be. And by opening it up to more people, that's just going to cost a flipping fortune and make things way more complicated. And I don't think it necessarily needs to be that. I think there are other things that already exist that serve that purpose just fine.
And E3 can just become one of those if it really wants to stay on in some form, and they're like, well, we don't want to die completely. Why not just become the sort of the try and make yourself the biggest and best hands-on thing that doesn't necessarily have a load of
doesn't
reveals
have
and
showcases.
stuff. It's just like come along
Gamescom very rarely has like, or Tokyo Game Show. Like, you do get
EGX
announcements
has
from them.
like none, but people still flock to it.
Yeah, because you get to go and play games and like buy merch.
Be a good hands-on event.
It's just a big event, isn't it?
Yeah.
The one thing that I feel a little bit bad about in terms of Summer Game Fest potentially being the new E3 is that I kind of wish that not everything was this kind of a series of pre-recorded, little showcase bits. And like, I kind of miss the risk of like
I missed it
what
so much.
could happen.
Here's an uncomfortable man in a suit.
Yeah, I know that Summer Game Fest is actually technically live.
Yes,
it's
and we
the
do
only
get those
one
moments.
that is
Yeah,
live.
but-
Same with the Game Awards, which is why everything happens at the Game Awards.
Yeah,
but
it still involves a bit less of like the head of each individual company coming out on. I mean, maybe I guess it always varies like year to year anyway. So maybe
The
there'll be more of
worst
that,
day
but-
of their professional year
Yeah.
is having to go out on stage.
But on the other hand, there is this sort of trifecta of Jeff Keighley events. It's not just Summer
This is
Game
what I'm
Fest. And the
saying.
Game Awards is probably does have a bit more of a chance of people coming out and doing silly things. Because you have people doing speeches and stuff.
Yeah.
I just think that, like, if it was, I think I would be less upset about Summer Game Fest potentially, taking over as E3 if it wasn't Jeff Keighley's, like,
You hate him, don't you?
I just don't hate him. I just feel like he's got too much power. Like, that he shouldn't have about in the gaming industry.
But he's not using it for
everyone's
bad, for evil.
but he could.
With
But he
great
could,
power
sure, yeah.
comes
Yeah,
great
exactly.
He
responsibility.
could, yeah.
Because the man's a millionaire. The man's making
for sure.
big bucks from all of these games that want to get shown at his shows, and he's coming for Gamescom next. That's what he's coming for. He's going to kill him off.
Hey, he could
They're his next
kill
target.
whatever he wants. I think E3 was like a very unique, amazing beast that we all enjoyed and look forward to every year. But when it came back and it was the digital version, it just wasn't. It wasn't the same. It didn't work as well. And if all those showcases are going to be digital anyway, and you're just going to roll them as part of E3, why not roll them as part of Summer Game Fest?
Yeah.
Why do you even need the in-person stuff? Like I loved E3 when it was like, okay, Nintendo's up first, then we've got Xbox 2 hours later, and then tonight Sony are coming up, and they're all coming out with their biggest guns, and they're going to try and outdo each other.
Yeah.
It was sort of the level of competition that was most exciting for me about E3. I don't think it matters that Summer Game Fest does this, because E3 was already sort of doing it last year, and when they were able to do it, because that's just the way that things have moved since COVID. It's cheaper, it's more convenient, and companies can announce things when they're good and ready. They don't feel like, right, well, we've rented this huge bloody theater and we need to get 300 people packed in here who are going to scream and whoop and holler, and we need to show everything. We need to rush to make sure these demos are available that we can play live. It's like they don't need to do that anymore.
Yeah.
And Summer Game Fest is just a reflection of where the industry's got to.
At least if everything falls under the Summer Game Fest umbrella in the future, you can do Summer Game Fest predictions, because we've not been able to do E3 predictions for a while because there's not really been, there's been like stuff happening all over the place. So maybe next year.
If Summer Game Fest evolves again next year,
Yeah.
then hopefully it will stay like that, because you got to stop, Jeff. Stop making it bigger.
Well, and also the one other thing I was going to add actually is that like we're living in the digital age now, and certainly when E3 was in its infancy in the kind of late 90s, early noughties, it probably was more convenient to get a bunch of journalists and the business partners and clients all together and speak to them on a stage or in a room. I'm not saying that email didn't exist back then, but certainly nowadays we just have all the infrastructure in place for like video calls and easy like email and instant messaging and stuff. So those conversations can happen far more easily. So a journalist can speak to the head developer of whatever studio or have a video interview with them and record it right there from the comfort of their own office or even their own home. So yeah, there's less need to physically get everyone together in a room for those business conversations.
Yeah, Summer Game Fest is what it is, and if you want to go play games hands-on, then look up some local shows. You can go have a fiddle on them games if you want. But go and watch the What Went Wrong with E3 video out now on YouTube. It's very good, and you will enjoy it. So there we are. It's time, Ashton, for something a little new.
Yes, it is a little new, and it's not at all weird. It's time now for What We Playin.
It's What We Play in time to talk about the games, what we have been playing. Peter Austin, what you have been playing.
Well, at the start of the end of the week and the start of the week, after the last podcast, I played a little bit more of the of Lego 2K Drive. I'm kind of done with that now. I had a lot of fun with it, but I've slightly, some might say I've gone into overdrive.
Very good.
And had a good time with it, and I may never play it again, but it was great. However, we're about to go on a little adventure here, everyone, I'm afraid. I did find a slot in my diary to say, like, okay, the next couple of nights I'm going to be free to sit down and play some video games. So I sat down and I booted up Jedi Survivor.
Okay.
Now, my first question to you guys is, did you have frame rate issues on the company logos at the start of the game?
Oh, God, no.
I don't think so.
Right, so it booted up and it was like chugging through like the EA, not like really badly, but I could see it was sort of, it looked like it was like loading something in the background sort of thing. I was like, that's a bit strange, but I was like, okay, it was the first time I booted up the game, never mind. Didn't like put too much stock in it. I got all my settings sorted and stuff, accessibility things, and then got the game going. The prologue began, and I got as far as you get into a lift, and a stormtrooper calls you a terrorist, and the robot boy, you turn to the robot boy and say, "You're going to let him call you that?" And then the robot boy punches you in the face, and then the game crashed. And I thought, oh, okay, never mind. So I started the game again. And then I got a bit further. I got to the point where you come out onto a platform and you say, "Oh, look, the yacht's over there. It's drifting. It's still drifting because there's like a yacht that's been disabled." And then as I stepped forward, the game crashed. I was like, "Wow, okay." And then I played it a little bit more after that and managed to get as far as what had happened. I'm still on Coruscant. And then I just kind of was getting a bit annoyed. It didn't crash again, but I just kind of, it slightly, it soured the opening for me a little bit. And I was like, I'm not really feeling it right now, given that it's just like died twice. And it's the second time when I booted it up again, it was still kind of juddering on the logos at the start. So I don't know what, I don't know what's happened. The night before, I'd left it installing, and I wonder, actually, maybe it's not updated. Maybe it's on like the original build, but I don't think that's how it works, because it would have been installing an update while I was playing if there was one available. So
probably.
Unless maybe, actually, I should check for updates, because I've not tried to do that yet. I assumed it would just be on the latest version, but maybe I've got like updates to stay disabled or something like that, and possibly it might be.
Maybe. There was definitely a day one patch that all the reviewers said. Before we had this, it was barely running.
That being said, I'm playing digitally, so I'm not playing off like a disc.
Right, so it should just download.
Yeah, it should just be the latest. So I don't know what caused it, and hopefully, I don't know, maybe it was even like, maybe my console was hot or something like that, and hopefully it's not going to be an ongoing problem. But my first session with that game was sadly not good. I really liked what I did play, though. I like the way that Cal moves around. Like, it was good to play as like, it's been a while, I think, since I played as a really like agile video game character. Like, I feel like whatever the past few games I've played are, they've been sort of slow moving, hulking people, or like the kid from Bramble was, clambering around and struggling. But like, I'm just doing flips everywhere and running on walls. It feels really good. And the combat's nice, and the map system is good, and there's a lot of, I can see where all the improvements have been made. It's like, will you please just now run and let me actually enjoy you, because I can see that I am probably going to have a lot more fun with this game than the previous one. But
that's such a shame.
We'll see how it goes. So that's my story.
It was a good story.
And that's all I've been playing so far this week. What about you, Ashton?
I finished After Us that we were given the other week. It's a good game. It's a pretty cute little indie game. It's pretty blatant with its messaging in terms of it's like about climate change and how people are destroying the planet. And it's just really nice. Every area that you go to has got different mechanics. There's like a swimming level, and then there's an area where you can jump through TVs into other TVs. There's like memories and other spirits to collect as you're going through the levels. And yeah, I really enjoyed that game. I platinumed it this week. It's pretty easy platinum as well. There's no like ridiculous challenges or anything, which I always hate. And then after that, I finished that. I had about a 4-day crisis where I thought, I'm not excited for any video games. I don't want to play anything that I have. I don't know what I want to do. And I just sat there every night being like, I haven't got anything to play. I don't know what to play. And I was getting very upset. And then last night, I tried to play Car Mechanic Simulator 2021 for some reason. Right. I think it was because I was on Xbox and you could cloud game it. And then it skipped the tutorial for me when I didn't ask. And then I was sat there going, I don't know how to fix this car. The very first car, and I was like, I don't know what you're asking me to do here. So and then I closed that. And then I had a little cry because I was like, I don't know what to play. I don't like video games anymore. I did.
Ashton.
It's the hormones. Then I was like, I don't like games anymore. And then this morning, for some reason, I woke up and I went on my computer and I went on my boyfriend's Steam library. I installed Dishonored and I played about an hour and a half of Dishonored today.
Oh, nice.
Okay.
And I enjoyed that. It was good.
That's amazing.
I haven't.
I really like Dishonored.
I was doing a list the other week about, and there was one of the entries was about Deus Ex, and I've always wanted to try Deus Ex, but I've never got around to it. And then we were talking about Dishonored when we were talking about Deus Ex with my boyfriend. And then he was like, you might like Dishonored. And I was like, I might. So then I installed it and I gave that a go this morning. Because I'm not excited for anything at the moment.
Well, have you heard there's going to be a big patch for a big update for Disney Dreamlight Valley?
Yeah,
it's already out.
New stuff coming,
yeah,
right?
but people aren't rating it.
Oh, no.
What about you?
I've not tried it yet.
Okay.
But yeah, there's a new Star Path, which is their kind of monetization thing where it's like a season pass basically, and you can like unlock stuff by doing challenges, and people are really upset because the content of that's really rubbish and it's kind of a bit of a cash grab. There's also a thing you can pay your moon gems to, which is like the currency that you can earn in game but also you can pay for. There's like 4,000 of those, which is like £15, and that's all it is a few quests for Wally and a new outfit for him. Right. So people aren't really rating it. There is a new character, but I've not gone back to it yet because I just fell off it a little bit.
No.
It just wasn't really enticing me anymore. It kind of felt like they were putting too much into it, and it was it suddenly felt a bit more live servicey than it did before.
Yeah.
Okay. Well, maybe you can return to it after a little while when they've done some more stuff to it, and then that'll be more appealing. At least there's like a number of conferences coming up.
Yeah.
We'll have to revisit where you feel next week.
This is what I mean. I'm kind of hoping that there'll be some stuff this week that will get me excited, because when I'm looking at like what's coming in the next few months, I'm just like, man, there's nothing really that I'm like, God, can't wait to play this. Apart from like Spider-Man, but I'm not convinced it's going to come out this year. So I'm a bit like,
I feel the same in the sense of like upcoming stuff. Like I'm fortunate that I've at least got a couple of things in the back catalogue that I've yet to play. Like I want to play Chia when I'm done with Star Wars and stuff. But yeah, in terms of actual stuff that's coming out, I'm not that excited for the rest of the year at the moment.
No. But at least I've got time to go back into all the other stuff I haven't played that I've been like, I'll play this eventually, and then haven't. So yeah, that's what I played this week.
Okie dokie. Well, I played a couple of things. I finished Tears of the Kingdom. I did it.
Yes.
I finished my first Zelda game. Finished in the sense that I've rolled credits and not done everything in the game. That final boss, I was not really expecting, but in terms of how it was structured at least, because I had a very vague quest instruction, which was like, I'm not going to give any details, but it was basically finish the game. And I had no map marker. And I was like, I don't know what do you want me to do?
Right.
So I did have to Google it. And then when I finished it, my big reward for finishing the game was I can look at speedruns now.
Oh, yeah.
And once I worked out how I could actually access the final boss, I can totally see how people can speedrun it immediately because you get much like Breath of the Wild. You can just go straight there if you want, if you know where you're going. But I had done like the majority of the prep that I needed. Like I had, I've got your boy's special sword. You know what they call it? Big boy sword. From Zelda.
Excalibur.
Big boy sword from Zelda.
Yeah.
I had that. I'd done everything that the game had told me to do, but as many people who have played the game will be familiar, I didn't get my armor enchanted by the fairies, which helps you.
Is that because she kept doing sexy sounds at you?
No, but she does do that, apparently. I didn't even go and find it.
Oh, really?
I didn't even go and find it. Yeah, so I went in basically, if you get hit, you're probably going to die pretty quick.
Oh.
They've also got this mechanic in the game called gloom, which is this horrible, I hate it. It's this horrible sort of red stuff that's on spookier areas of the map, including some enemies are covered in it as well. So when they hit you, they don't just do normal damage, they do gloom damage as well, which means that the hearts they take off can't be healed with conventional healing items.
I hate that.
You need a special one. So basically you're then functionally working with a much shorter health bar than usual. First time I went in there, I just brute forced it. I got to the final showdown with 3 hearts, which basically meant I had to play it without getting hit at all. And just through sheer stubbornness, I actually got quite far. I was very proud of myself. I was like, I can't be asked to get out of here. I cannot be bothered. I'm just going to stick to it. But I went out. I got, I made myself 4 healing items that also healed gloom. Not a lot. But there's a lot of gloom-based nonsense you have to traverse before you can actually even get to the final boss.
Right.
So I still went in there with like maybe 2 healing items, and it took me a number of tries, but eventually I did do it. I did finish the game, and it's done. I've beaten my first Zelda game. I think it's a beautiful, fantastic video game that I also, as I said last week, found extremely frustrating in many ways, most of which were user error. But I've done it. I've beaten it, and I stuck to my guns. I said I was going to finish it. And I did.
Nice.
So there we are. And then I played another fantastic brand new game called Grand Theft Auto San Andreas.
Oh, yeah.
That new classic.
That's what I'm playing at the moment because I've played it numerous times over the years in the sense that I've played it for like half an hour at a time, maybe 24 times.
Yeah.
But I've never actually sat down and played it from start to finish. So I'm playing the definitive edition version.
Right.
And it's hideous.
Yeah.
It's still so ugly, and they've clearly given up patching it as well because I'm still finding like street signs in the game which are all warped and weird from where they've used AI to upscale.
I was going to say, is it the new one that you're talking about?
Yeah, the one that came out in 2021. I'm enjoying it. It's definitely a PS2 game. Some of the missions I feel like are really very harsh.
I felt that with GTA 3, which is a game I've always liked. But then going back to replay it for the definitive edition, I was like, oh, wow, yeah, this was of its time, wasn't it? Yeah.
You get in a car, you flip it immediately, you fail the mission because it blows up.
Yeah.
Like, okay, great stuff. But I do like that they've added in, the more modern controls, and you've also got the better GPS and map and restarting missions when you fail them straight away rather than having to, because I think before when you died, for example, you just went to the nearest hospital and then had to make your way back to the start of the mission. There's also checkpoints mid-mission as well, which is great. So there's lots of quality of life stuff in there. I've gotten to San Fierro, which I feel like is probably the last city based on the map that I'm in, and I am enjoying it. I'm looking forward to. I just got an overwhelming urge to just play it. So finally doing that, and then beyond that, I've also played Diablo 4, which I'm going to tell you a little bit more about right now.
Oh.
Hello everyone, welcome to Review Corner.
Yes.
Here we are talking about Doblo.
It's not
Doblo-ive.
called Doblo. No, it's not. It's called Diablo 4. And before we get started, Ashton, we've got to do the thing that we have to do.
Can I also do a thing before we get started?
Yeah.
Activision Blizzard are still a terrible company. There you go.
Per ASA guidelines, we are compelled to disclose that we received a gifted code for Diablo IV from Blizzard, and that this video is therefore categorized as an ad. However, no financial compensation was provided in exchange for coverage. We have to say that every time.
Yeah.
We weren't paid, but ASA guidelines suggest that we categorize this as an ad, even though you and I both know that it is not technically. We're just reviewing it. So here we go. Set 50 years after the events of Diablo III's Reaper of Souls expansions, cultists have resurrected big bad demon lady Lilith, and it's up to you to stop her.
Yeah.
Are you ready, Ashton?
You so ready?
Are you ready to stop her?
I am.
Are you familiar with Diablo and like the sort of the gameplay loop?
I think I played Diablo 3.
Okay.
Yes, I do know it.
So I've only ever dabbled. Christ. I've only ever dabbled a little with Diablo 3 when it first released on PS3. So we're talking about 10 years ago at this point. So I have an understanding of how Diablo plays, and obviously it's got a huge following, and there's lots of games that ape the style of how it's played, but Diablo is like the king of the genre. But essentially, you kill, loot, go through dungeons, kill things in dungeons, and loot the things that you've killed in dungeons.
Yeah.
And it's sort of a really addictive loop that you just hack and slash and murder things, and it's dead fun. And I was really interested in playing this new one because it's reviewed very well, and hell, I could play some of that. I could play something that I think I'm gonna say play something mindless, but I don't mean that it's mindless. What I mean is that I've just played Tears of the Kingdom, which I felt was very mentally taxing. Yeah. And now I want something where I can sort of hold an attack button and still have a really fun time in a very competently made game.
Yes.
So I was looking forward to this. So it sounds simple, but as I said, Blizzard is sort of best in class with this stuff. I unfortunately had a number of performance issues, which I'll get to in a minute, but first I'm going to talk generally about the game. After I had the performance issues, it then started to function properly, and I had a fantastic time, and I cannot wait to play more. So you begin by choosing your class. You've got Barbarian, Sorcerer, Rogue, Necromancer, Druid. They've all got their own skill paths and skill trees, and you get to customize them. There's not a huge amount of customization, unfortunately. It is presented from that sort of top-down angled style, I believe it's isometric style, so you don't get to see a great deal of detail on your character anyway, but you have like 4 different face models to choose from, maybe a dozen hairstyles. You can then customize the colors and stuff like that, and you can choose your body type, which one you'd prefer, and you can also select some body markings / tattoos, some of which are very cool. Actually, I quite like them. Now, I tried to play on Wednesday on my stream, and I was able to create my character, and then the game just would not function, unfortunately. I would run in place, I would run like a little distance, and it felt like there was a bungee cord around me dragging me backwards. I would reach enemies and attack them, but nothing would happen, and then a number of seconds later, my actions would suddenly all play out at once. I'd make some progress across the map, and then suddenly ping back to where I was like a minute before, flying through trees and cliffs and all sorts. I then tried to like quit the game, and it wouldn't let me.
Good.
I went to leave the game. I selected leave game, and nothing happened. I had to like hard quit the game to actually quit. Then I realized that I hadn't captured footage from the character creator, so I went to create a new character, and this happened 3 times in a row. The game crashed. Good. When I tried to create my character. So not ideal. The game is always online. You have to sign up for a Blizzard, what's it called, a Battle.net account to even play, even if you're on console. And you seemingly can't play offline, which I think is a huge oversight, especially as games like this always have server issues at launch. Every single time they do. Now, I know that I seemingly am one of few people who had this issue this bad. A lot of people in my chat were saying, it sucks that this is your first impression of the game, because I'm playing on PC and I've had no issues whatsoever. Yeah. Kat popped into the stream and said her partner Bob was playing on PC right then next to her and having no problems whatsoever. So I appreciate that I was probably an isolated incident, but certainly on Wednesday evening on PS5, I could not play it.
And it wasn't an internet issue because you were streaming at the same time. So it wasn't like your stream was cutting out as well. Because if it was your fault, that's your fault. But this was a game server situation.
I was like trying to queue into the game when I closed it, and it wouldn't let me join the servers and stuff. Like it was popping up with stuff. However, then I tried to play later on in the evening, worked flawlessly. Not a problem at all. So clearly that was an isolated incident, as I said, and your mileage may vary, but just a warning that it is always online and you could have these issues. But then I played later on. I went into a dungeon. I killed loads of enemies. I picked up loads of loot, and the loot had like a little green arrow on it saying it was better than my loot, and I put it on. And I spec'd into my class a bit as a barbarian, unlocked a couple of actions. So on console, your various attacks are mapped to face buttons, and seemingly you unlock more of these face buttons as you level up and rise through the ranks. To begin with, I only had one choice of face button, and by the end I had two. So I had two different types of attacks. You have different weapons as well. So with the barbarian, I had like a big axe, a two-handed sword, and two hand axes, and you can't switch between them at will because those are assigned to the skills that you spec into. So for example, I assigned a skill to the X button, which used my hand axes, but I assigned the one for square to use the two-handed sword. So you can't switch like in a traditional RPG to like, I want to use my two-handed sword now. They don't have a base attack. It's just your skill that you have assigned. But I really enjoyed that. The cutscenes are really good as well. They're typical like Blizzard level of quality of animation. Very impressed by that. However, I am going to predominantly be playing this in co-op. And I dabbled a little bit in it. Dabbled, a little bit in the co-op. And I'm really impressed by how they've done it for local co-op. So unfortunately, the second player on PS5, this is, and I imagine it's the same for Xbox as well. There's only local co-op on console. It's not on PC. For that, it's online co-op of up to 4 players. And that's the same on console as well. You can have online co-op up to 4 players. But local, only 2, only on console. The second player has to sign up for a Battle.net account as well. They do not need PlayStation Plus to play it. Only player 1 needs PlayStation Plus. And your experience is shared, the money is shared, the loot that drops on the ground. Online, I'm led to believe that it's instanced loot, like in Borderlands, so you see your own loot, you don't have to share or fight over it. In split-screen local co-op, obviously, it's not split-screen, it's all on the same screen. You're going to have to see the same loot. However, the loot that drops is assigned to that player. So if you pick up a pair of boots that have P2 for player 2 on them, they will automatically go into the inventory of player 2.
Oh, okay.
So you can just hoover up everything that drops, and it will automatically be assigned to the second player or the first player, depending on who the game decides this is for. And I think that's just a very nice solution.
Yeah.
It's good. And player 2 can join at any time. I'm not sure how it scales the levels of the enemies in local co-op. In online, again, it's instanced, so the you'll be scaled up or scaled down depending on the host, etc. But I'm really excited to play more of this. Unfortunately, because of the way that things have fallen this week, with the stream just not working because the servers were buggered, and last night at the time of recording, we were reacting to Summer Game Fest until gone 10 p.m. So I haven't had a chance to play much more of it. I'll be able to talk way more about Diablo 4 next week, but I'm really impressed so far. It's got 88% currently on PS5 on Metacritic, so I know it's a great game. I just have to hope that the servers hold out so I can actually experience it properly.
Yeah.
And that's it. That's my little write-up on Diablo 4 so far. And as I said, looking forward to playing more.
Good. I'm glad.
There we are.
Let's head back over to the podcast now. Well, now it's time for question 2, which comes from Bartek. He says, OMG BAP, the saga continues. According to Bloomberg, Microsoft could consider pulling Activision from the UK market as one extreme option to bypass the country's block of its proposed $69 billion acquisition.
Nice.
What is your opinion on this, and is it a precedent on a global scale? Are you asking me for a comment? My comment is lol LMAO. Have a great day. Forever yours, Bartek. Thank you, Bartek. This is a mess, isn't it?
Sure is.
Sure is.
I've got a quote from an article, which I have paraphrased slightly, so we suggest you go read the full thing. It is in the link dump, and it's from VGC, Video Game Chronicle. Video Games Chronicle? Or is it Summer Games?
Is it singular or is it multiple?
I don't know.
Who knows?
Video Games Chronicle. They also did the thing for my question.
Excellent. Well, here we are. Microsoft President Brad Smith will meet with UK Chancellor Jeremy Hunt next week, this week at the time of recording. This is an article from last week, to voice his frustration over the Competition and Market Authority's, CMA's, decision to block the deal. Microsoft confirmed to the publication that Smith will be in London. He'll hold private discussions on issues beyond his existing engagements, including the proposed acquisition of Activision Blizzard, as we remain committed to finding creative and constructive ways to address remaining overseeing regulatory concerns, a spokesperson said. Now remember, creative and constructive ways is how they've described it.
Yeah, this is really creative and constructive for everyone involved.
It is. Hunt's previously criticised the CMA veto, telling a business conference recently that competition watchdogs must understand their wider responsibilities, which means nothing. However, Bloomberg claims that government ministers are also unhappy with some of Smith's public criticism of the CMA, including stating that he believed the EU was a better place to do business than the UK, because of course they would. It's claimed that Smith will meet with Microsoft's legal representatives to discuss the firm's strategy to counter the CMA decision this week, including extreme options such as withdrawing Activision from the UK market or bypassing the UK order and pressing ahead with the deal. In theory, if Activision's operation were moved to another European country outside of the CMA's jurisdiction, its games could then continue to be sold via a distributor. Microsoft's appeal against the UK competition watchdog's decision to block its acquisition of Activision Blizzard will be heard in court in July. So there we are. Very constructive tactic.
And creative.
It's the nuclear option. Well, I don't think they're going to... This is going to be worked out, isn't it?
I don't think they're going to do it. I don't think they ever actually thought that they would. I think they just said it to create maybe some more headlines and to maybe like make some empty threats that they're hoping will be taken as slightly less than empty threats.
To scaremonger a bit.
Yeah. Because he's like, I've seen some quotes more recently from him from another article where he was saying like, oh yeah, we're looking to like find solutions, like work together and stuff. And then he's even said, I've always said that the UK is a great place. I'm sure it is a great place to work, to live, and to grow as a company, or something like that, or to grow a product. And so it sounds like to me he might be backpedaling slightly now.
The initial reaction was because we talked about it a bit on the podcast at the time. It really felt like baby throwing toys out.
Well, it was Bobby Kotick who originally said like, "Oh well, if you're not going to allow us to do it, then I guess we just won't do business with you anymore."
It was Bobby Kotick mainly, and also some people from Microsoft as well. I'm not familiar with Brad Smith's name, so he may have said something that I've come across before. But certainly some of the higher ups in Microsoft were really very cross about it.
Yeah. I mean, to me, it just sounds like it's not something they're likely to do. It would be a really silly thing to do, especially if you consider games like Call of Duty, has a huge, a huge part of their player base are Brits,
But the thing is, though, they're not saying that they won't sell to England. They're just saying that they would take their business out of the UK and then distribute back in.
Yeah, that's true. That's true.
Which, just feels like a lot of effort on their part. But I suppose they've got so much money, who cares? $69 billion, do what you want.
A lot of Activision employees.
It would. Don't get me wrong. It would affect a lot of actual employees of Activision and studios that are kind of fall under them. But like I say, I don't think it's going to happen.
No.
I think it's very much we will do this, promise. And they've got their fingers crossed behind their backs the whole time. Yeah. But it also is just really I don't know if I just think it's unprofessional. Like, it's just kind of a very strange, I know it's business practices and it's cutthroat in the business world, but it feels really unprofessional to be like, well, we just won't sell games to you. We'll just take them away from you. How would you like that, Jeremy Hunt? And Jeremy Hunt's like, oh, please be my friend. I just feel it.
That's what he sounds like.
That's what it sounds like. I don't think they're going to do it. I think it's just scaremongering, but it's not something that I'm enjoying seeing, and it is not filling me with I'm a bit scared about it, because if that happens, it's going to set a really interesting precedent in terms of like, if you upset us, we'll just basically sack a bunch of people and employ other people in a different country, which I don't love that vibe.
It's such a strange situation. Not just because, they're buying a huge chunk of the games industry, that we talked about that already, but certainly it's the reaction that I find most interesting. And this is just the latest in a series of, why are you this, it's gonna go through, right? Why are you saying all of this so aggressively, so publicly? Is it to garner public sympathy? Is it to garner public support? Because I see that and I think, what are you doing?
Because they've already got their appeal happening.
Are you adults? I just don't understand. And also, I feel like it's going to have a negative effect because, as it says, government ministers are unhappy with some of the way that they've gone about this, especially their reactions. Mm-hmm. And if you're just going to criticize a body like the CMA in such an open and flagrant fashion, they're probably just going to dig their heels in.
Well, yeah.
Why would because at this point, if their stance, which I don't think it is, to be fair, I think this has just sort of come out, but if their stance is pass this or we're going to withdraw our business from the UK entirely, you're holding it to ransom at that point. And then it feels like if the CMA changes tact, it's basically them saying, oh, well, you win, I suppose. Yeah. And actually then is the CMA, what does any sort of stance that they take going forwards mean at that point? If they can just be bullied out of their decision, then surely, if you went in through the appeals process and you talked to them and said, look, I don't agree with the points that you've made. Here's why. I think you should let this go through. Let's try and make a deal that works for everyone, blah, blah, blah. That would be one thing. But the fact that they're saying, we're going to bugger off if you don't pass our big deal. So take it or leave it. Even if they then just look at the points and go, actually, you know what, you're right. It's still going to publicly look as though they're giving in to that demand, and that's not going to be a great look.
That's true.
But that's the whole thing about it is it's just that one bit. If it was we're going to work with them creatively and constructively to come up with a solution, fair enough. But the fact that they've even mentioned the extreme scenario is the thing that's unprofessional in so many ways, because like you say, there's that element of it. But also, even if they are trying to garner support from diehard Microsoft fanboys against the government in terms of see what your government are doing, they're stopping you from playing games. The vast majority of the fan base, they don't have any power. They don't have any power over the CMA. They're not going to be able to sway your decision. So if you're trying to get the public on your side, it just makes anyone who's not a diehard Microsoft can do no wrong fanboy be like, that's mad behavior. This is really weird.
Well, especially for the consumers that might just read an article like that and not necessarily understand the deeper implications, such as the fact that things could be distributed via Europe and things like that. If you just read that article and in a very scaremongery, clickbaity way,
or
see the headline, that's what. Read the headline is what I mean, rather than read the detail. Then all you're going to see there is Activision don't care about the UK. They'll happily just stop selling it, and I will have no way of playing my Activision games. I won't be able to play Call of Duty anymore. As we say, that's not actually strictly how it would go. But if you just see that headline and that is how you feel about it, as you say, Ashton, it's not a way to win over your audience. No. Not that they have any control over the deal anyway, but yeah.
Well, I'd only seen the headline before kind of this question, and I'd only literally just been like, oh, they're withdrawing it in extreme measures. And then we were chatting about it in the group chat, and I was like, well, I mean, they could, because the UK is much smaller than the entirety of Europe. If they were like, we're going to withdraw it from Europe, then obviously it's a bit different. But I just was under the impression that that's it. Activision gone. No games for us. That's kind of what the initial headline.
How it sounds.
Yeah, exactly. And even in an article I read that wasn't from VGC, they didn't even have that last bit of we'll take it elsewhere and we'll distribute back into the UK. So not every article that I've read has had that information in. So like you say, you read this article, you think, well, there's no games for me then if that's what's going to happen, because they're just completely withdrawing from the UK.
As always, tired of hearing about this. Tired of having to analyze business talk that, quite frankly, is above 99% of people discussing games on the internet. Ready for this to be done. It's going to go through, but this behavior is just, it's mad. It's really, really bonkers. So we'll see what happens, I suppose. Probably the inevitable. It will go through. I don't think Activision's going to pull out of the UK. No, that's not very likely at all. It's time. If they did, though, it would be a bit strange, wouldn't it?
It would, and it would certainly make the news.
I think it would be weird news.
It's weird news time for some weird video game news. If you would like to submit weird video game news to us, you can do so by submitting it underneath the post that should go out on a Tuesday, but didn't this week. If you want to guarantee a shout out at this point in the podcast, you can go to patreon.com/Team TripleJump, support us at a certain tier, and become a podcast producer just like
Nathan,
GY Goliath,
Nicole Hansen,
Duncan Wilson,
Katie Garrett/Jared,
Ellie Nicholas,
Nexus Polaris,
Melody Elbonet,
Blake Thomas,
and Gabrielle Philipping.
Thank you, podcast
Thank you,
producers.
podcast
Thank you, podcast
producers.
producers. Thank you. Peter, have you got a news sourced by you?
Yes, I've got a news source by me. I must admit, I've not actually read it yet, but it sounds like it's weird news, so that's fine. It's from Nintendo Life.
Random.
Some fans think they've spotted a Mario Kart 10 teaser in the Mario movie.
Oh,
Apparently.
Okay.
It's written by Jim Norman.
X for doubt.
Yeah. Thank you, Jim. It was posted today at 1:30 p.m.
Wow, fresh.
Subheading, pass the salt, bro. I'm assuming that's going to be relevant as we read the article. But
Oh, is that okay? Is that from the dinner scene at the start? We'll find out because that's the
Well,
only
yeah.
unless
there
it's
was a
talking
dinner scene.
about
I've seen the dinner scene.
being
Yeah.
salty because you lose.
Yeah.
That might be.
Maybe.
Let's find out.
A little over a week ago, we heard that another wave of DLC would be coming to Mario Kart 8 Deluxe, quote, soon,
Did we?
thus beginning our speculation about what courses will be heading our way this time. While we were all thinking about the additions to the current game, however, some eagle-eyed viewers of the Super Mario Bros. Movie on Reddit have spotted what they believe to be a teaser for a whole new entry in the Mario Kart series. As noted by Automatic Sir 411 on the r/Mario Kart Reddit forum, the pipes on the top of the Super Mario Bros. Plumbing van have several codes on them, one of which reads 221203 MK10, right?
Okay.
And then 500N, soon.
What's the first bit again?
Yeah.
221203.
Okay, well.
Well, that can't be the
That doesn't make
22nd of December 2003.
What does that
No.
mean?
I don't know.
Or even if it was the 3rd of December 2022.
Yeah,
That's still wrong.
Yeah, that's true actually. But it says MK10 soon on there apparently. To some, aka us, it says, this looked like nothing more than a series of numbers and letters, but Automatic Sir 411 speculates that the concluding MK10500N might in fact signify that there is a Mario Kart 10 coming soon. Article continues below.
I just don't feel like that they would do that. I just don't feel like they would be like, do you know where's the best place to hide this? In one tiny little shot of my
guys,
big movie.
I know you're hard at work animating this movie, but
Yeah.
can we just reserve a little bit of space on the roof bars of the van? We'll tell you what needs to go on there right at the end because we need to decide what's
We've
coming
not worked
soon.
out the dates yet.
We don't know if it's coming soon or not yet.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, the article admits that there are several caveats to take into consideration here. The most notable being the fact that we don't have a Mario Kart 9 at the time of writing.
I was going to say, wasn't it Mario Kart 8? The one on Switch.
Though if Nintendo wanted to surprise us with an announcement soon, we wouldn't be angry. The theory has an answer for this, though, suggesting that Mario Kart 8 Deluxe could perhaps count as Mario Kart 9.
No, it wouldn't.
Since it followed on from the standard version on the Wii U. Others have even offered their own reasoning, suggesting that perhaps Mario Kart Tour could stand in as the 9th entry, allowing the next game to hit double digits. Does this seem completely likely?
No.
But we respect the conviction. It continues, as for what the numbers that precede the cryptic teaser could mean, perhaps it could be a date, but it's unlikely Nintendo is planning an announcement for the 22nd of December 2003. And even reversed, it would point to December 2022. Not quite as late, but very much in the past all the same.
Unless they're going to release DLC for the next 950 years.
Yeah.
And then it's 3003.
Possibly.
Yeah,
You didn't
maybe.
think of that, did you, Nintendo?
That'll be when
Life?
they'll put
Atheist.
9 out in 50 years and then the
And
next
there's a good
one in
920
900.
years
Yeah.
till the next one.
Yeah.
Truthfully, it concludes, the theory is a real stretch and there's next to no chance we will see it come true as long
Cool.
as MK8D courses continue to be churned
Thanks,
out.
Nintendo Life.
That being said, there's part of us that would love to see a universe in which one of Nintendo's biggest announcements of the past 5 years was spoiled by a pipe code that appeared on screen for 0.2 seconds. It's a good article,
That
even though
is-
the
It
story
is.
is non-existent.
Pretty scathing.
Yeah.
That was weird.
I have a news story from
Yeah.
IGN by Wesley Yin Poole. Whoopi Goldberg really wants Blizzard to release Diablo 4 on Mac. And then the
Does she?
quotation mark. Yeah,
Wow.
just you wait. She actually does.
Okay.
This really pissed me off. Diablo 4 is Blizzard's fastest selling game, but one customer can't play it. That customer is Oscar-winning ghost actress Whoopi Goldberg, who said she bought the action role-playing game thinking she'd be able to play it on her Mac as a ghost in the movie.
Rest in peace.
It's like
in
a
the movie
separate category. We have actors, we have ghost actors, and she's one of them.
Yeah,
that's where you act on behalf of someone else,
yes.
but let them take the claim.
Like its predecessors, Diablo 4, unfortunately for Goldberg, is only available on PC, PlayStation, and Xbox. In a video posted to her Instagram account, first reported by Entertainment Weekly, Goldberg pleaded with Blizzard to release Diablo 4 on Mac. "This is what I'm asking you, Blizzard," Goldberg said. "This is Whoopi. You know how much I love Diablo. I would like you all to let us who use our apples to play. Allow us to play on the Apple. Take Diablo 4 and let us do it and have a great time."
She knows what Diablo 4 is, but she calls her computer an apple.
It sounds like the opening line sounds like a brand deal. Like, this is Whoopi. Everyone knows how much I love Diablo 4.
You know what I love more than playing Diablo 4?
Well, she doesn't know.
Playing it on my apples.
She doesn't know how much she loves to play Diablo 4 because she can't play it.
Well, no. But then she continues by saying it's not available on this platform and should be, and you're letting us down there. So it's clearly not a brand deal.
No. Because then she says, "Then give me my 4 because I paid for it. I was all excited for it.
What?
I went to play on it, and I'm telling you, this really pissed me off."
So how did she buy it? Did she buy a piece? Did Diablo 4 even release physically?
I don't know. Clearly, Goldberg failed to read the list of supported platforms before handing over her hard-earned cash. Diablo 4 is a smash hit and has gone down well with critics, and on a relatively smooth launch too. We can now add the lack of Mac versions to the list of complaints.
Relatively smooth.
Yeah. This one from a particularly famous flan, even not flan. Sorry.
Ghost flan.
I have so many questions about what Whoopi Goldberg has done.
Clearly perplexed Diablo development chief Rod Ferguson tweeted to address Goldberg's complaint. "I did not have Whoopi Goldberg yelling at me on Instagram on my Diablo 4 launch bingo card." Apparently there is an Apple new game porting toolkit that she can use if she really wants to. But yeah, so she, on her Instagram, told Diablo to...
put it on apples. Where are you, Whoopi? Come back, Whoopi.
Not have her
Whoopi,
down
please.
as a Diablo fan.
It's a live stream, but...
How can you be a fan of...
Whoa. Whoopi?
Whoa, it's bugging out. And this Wi-Fi.
Whoopi, you okay?
Much like Diablo 4.
Yeah.
Whoopi doesn't want to
lagging.
talk right now.
She was live. She did a live stream that was about 4 minutes long. Just of her.
Are those all her awards in the back?
No, those are shoes.
Oh. They looked so expensive.
They're her ghost shoes.
Ghost shoes, yeah.
Yeah.
Well,
there you are.
I did not have her down as a Diablo player.
No.
And you'd think that anyone who is computer literate enough to be a fan of the Diablo series would at least understand what, like,
she can't play on her Apple.
Supported operating systems are and so on. But
yeah, she just wants to play it on her Apple.
On
but
her
but
Apple.
apparently
Let us
all
play
the
it on
other
our
Diablo
apples.
games were available on Mac. So,
Right.
you know, it's not surprising that she was confused.
Okay.
But I
she
also
did still
feel
go
like
out and buy a PC version somehow.
I also feel like maybe she might have enough money to just buy a new computer.
Yeah, can someone help
that's
her
true.
out? I would watch Whoopi
I bet
Goldberg stream.
PC specialist or whatever would be like, we'll send you one,
Yeah.
Whoopi.
Yeah, I bet they would.
Somebody let her play on her Apple.
I just like when she pluralized it. Let us play on our apples.
On our
Yeah.
apples.
I've got a weird news. This is from Push Square.
Random.
Zelda Tears of the Kingdom on PS Vita is probably not the content you expected to see today. This is by Kale Adam yesterday at 2 a.m. Through a roundabout method, a resourceful and rather ingenious individual has the first-party Nintendo mega hit, The Legend of Zelda Tears of the Kingdom, playable on a PlayStation Vita.
Was it?
Don't tell Nintendo because
No, we're not going to tell them. I'm
they'll
going to tell you how to
arrest
do
you
it.
and then make you pay money for the rest of your life.
Caveats had to be made, of course, and it's technically not running on the Vita. Rather, Nintendo's latest hit is being emulated on PC and streamed to the plucky little handheld through a program called Moonlight.
I use that.
Do you?
Yeah, sorry.
Well, you could do this too. Despite what OP says, input lag looks quite brutal and the whole thing seems more like a cool brag than an ideal way to play one of the most universally acclaimed games ever made. The nitty-gritty technical details can be found in the embedded post below for those so inclined. And then there's a video of a man playing Tears of the Kingdom on his Vita. He's using all the buttons and stuff. But yes, it's streaming through some hacked streaming stuff.
That's so weird. Like it's interesting when people get like console only stuff onto a handheld because it's like, hey, look, I'm playing Dark Souls or something like that. But this is already available on a handheld or semi-handheld console.
It is. But not a PlayStation
Vita
one.
can do a lot of things, but it's not running natively on the Vita. But the Vita can do a lot of stuff, especially when jailbroken. We can't imagine the aptly named CEO of Nintendo, Doug Bowser, will be as psyched as we are to see Zelda running on the Vita. He's known to breathe fire in a litigious sense, it says, after all. And then there's the classic call to action. Does this make you want to dust off your old friend or unseal that mint one hidden away for a rainy day? Let us know in the comments below.
Someone's like been keeping a Vita.
Yeah, just in
Zelda,
case.
I can stream Zelda with
finally.
loads of input lag. Now's the day.
Can't wait.
So that's my weird news. And sorry to everybody who would have submitted weird news this week. We discovered today that the weird news post didn't go out. So that's our bad. But it will be going out next week as per usual. It's time. We travel forwards in time to after Summer Game Fest. It's the big discussion. It's big discussion time. Time for the big discussion, which this week comes courtesy of Chris McVeigh. Hi, Bap. It's actually just Ba. Peter took one look at Summer Game Fest and I quote, he went...
Yeah.
And then he went home.
He said, I've got nothing to say about this.
Absolutely nothing to say. And also, he's not in today.
Yeah.
Another summer, another Game Fest singular. Did you like what you saw? Ashton Matthews, before we run through the stuff that was shown off, what did you think of Jeffrey's Big Summer Jamboree?
I'm a bit sad because after the show, everyone was really excited on Twitter. Like people were like, oh my God, this game, so excited. Wow, this game. And I was like, man, I literally didn't care about anything.
The thing is that you have to bear in mind, Ashton, is that those people are liars and they are clout chasers because it's nice to be positive. However, it takes a real one to be a grumpy, moody bugger.
And I don't like being a grumpy, moody bugger.
No, nobody does. But I've felt the same way about lots of these conferences.
I feel the same way about Summer Game Fest as I did about the PlayStation Showcase, in that, like, I just feel completely indifferent towards it. Like, there was nothing exciting. It wasn't the worst thing I've ever watched, but nothing got me excited. I'm not jazzed about anything.
Okay.
That's how I feel. I know that there's some games that I'm like interested in.
Yeah.
But none that I'm like, wow, I can't believe that wasn't out.
That's so exciting.
Best day of my life.
Yeah, I don't think there were any actual announcements that got me really excited. I think, as is usually the case with a lot of Jeff's showcases, like we talked about earlier in the podcast, I think they're still finding their feet to an extent.
Yeah.
There are several moments in this showcase in particular where the pace just like grinds to a halt.
Yep.
They're having a conversation for like 6 or 7 minutes. And admittedly, like we weren't in the best position to... We're never in the best position to appreciate those because we're reacting to it. And so oftentimes through entirely our own fault, we are talking over those discussions. So we aren't really listening to what they're saying. And it's like, can we get to another trailer for us to react to now?
Yeah.
So it might just be that we're in a unique position. But I have heard other people say that, you know, the pacing is usually quite off at these things.
Yeah.
There were some things shown that I thought looked cool. However, we already knew about them.
Yes.
We were just seeing more of them. But it is time to talk about the things that were shown. Are you ready?
I am.
First up, it was actually a new announcement, I think.
Yeah,
this
I
one's
think
brand new. Prince of Persia, The Lost Crown is coming January the 18th, 2024. This looks like it's going back to Prince of Persia's roots. It's a side-scroller, possibly a bit Metroidvania-y.
Yeah.
The protagonist, the Prince of Persia, I assume, has a very cool haircut.
He does.
And that was sort of all I took from that.
Yeah, pretty much. So much so that it wasn't on half of the... What happened at Summer Game Fest?
Yeah, we had to add that one on ourselves.
Because it wasn't on the lists that people were putting up. Then we got a big look at Mortal Kombat 1, the first game in the franchise. This is the first game they've ever made. We got a gameplay trailer. We got lots of look at gameplay, lots of look at fighting. They've talked about the new cameos mechanic in that you pick your main fighter and then one of the other fighters is a cameo fighter and will just appear sometimes to just do a bit of fighting and disappear again.
Nice.
You don't control them. They just come on when they want, kick someone in the face, and then disappear again.
Sick.
They did say that some characters aren't... Like, some characters can be used as cameos and can be your main fighter, but some characters are just going to be cameos. So people might be a bit sad if their character's stuck behind a camera.
He did, because Peter said that while we were reacting, and then I think Ed Boon, who was on stage, did then clarify that, hey, not some of them that are cameos will also be playable. So don't worry that if your favorite fighter is so far announced as a cameo, they may also actually be playable. Yeah. I'm not a fighting game expert. It sounds a bit like my very brief experiences with Tekken Tag Tournament, or more recently Marvel vs. Capcom 3 Ultimate on the PlayStation Vita, where you fight with a team of characters.
There was a lot of people saying
and
that.
you could press a button and say you've got Wolverine on your team. Instead of switching to Wolverine, Wolverine can come in and go, snicked, and then disappear off again, something like that. But the fatalities looked horrible, which is absolutely perfect for Mortal Kombat. Really just disgusting, fleshy, squelchy noises. Exactly what you would want from a Mortal Kombat game.
Yes, and it's coming in September, specifically on the 19th.
Very soon. Very soon. A nice turnaround from announcement to release.
They announced it like 2 weeks ago,
and
now it's coming out in 2 months, which is great.
Fantastic.
Love that.
Then Capcom went full Capcom. We've got Mecha Ryu and Mecha Guile from Street Fighter 6 in particular are coming to Exoprimal. Which is the robot dinosaur game that they've been teasing for a while. Yeah,
that's coming out on Xbox Game Pass Day 1.
It's Street Fighter 6 X Exoprimal, or Exoprimal X Street Fighter 6 is what they're calling it. It's two franchises their own. I don't know why they're calling it that. I don't know why Ryu is robot, but he does Hadouken robot dinosaurs.
He did Hadouken a dinosaur,
in the trailer.
He's also just like punching a T-Rex at one point.
Fantastic.
Brilliant.
I mean, what more could you want? It's great.
Nothing. Well, actually, there is something more I want, and that's Nicolas Cage in Dead by Daylight. Why? Who knows? He was there, and he turned up in a mint green satin suit.
He did.
Outshone Jeff big time.
Yeah, you didn't like Jeff's outfit, did you?
He didn't. No, I didn't like his outfit very much. I wanted to put a bit more effort in. Everyone up overshined him when they turned up.
Sam Lake did, for sure.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah. He's going to be a survivor, which I think is a miss. I think he should have been
a monster. Yes.
Just how funny would it be if, because in the trailer it's in like a movie studio, things have been knocked down. How funny would it be if it's just Nicolas Cage has been method acting and he's gone feral, and he's chasing a bunch of people around with a knife, just trying to kill them?
That would be great. It would also make it feel more special because only one person gets to play as the killer, right?
Yeah,
as
exactly.
The monster, so.
And multiple people can be Nicolas Cage even. Yes. Sorry, but like. How boring. He doesn't say anything. He's just gonna like go and then run around a bit. So
I was very confused by this because this was apparently leaked last week.
I knew that he was going to be in
it. I thought it was the actual announcement. I didn't realize it was a leak because the way this was presented at Summer Game Fest was that this is a brand new announcement.
Yeah.
And that took me by surprise because I thought we knew this.
I'm almost convinced either it was leaked or someone already announced it.
Maybe it was a dream. Did we all have just the same
dream?
Maybe
we all had the same dream.
Cage was coming to
maybe he
Dead
was
by Daylight.
investing our dreams. But yeah, he's coming on the 25th of July. I think you can sign up to do like an early test run with him if you want to, if you're that invested. But yeah, he's coming.
If you love the Nick. One we accidentally skipped over, free-to-play action RPG Path of Exile 2 is available on July the 18th. I feel like I've heard a bit of chatter that it's a good time to show this because everyone's obsessed with Diablo 4 at the moment.
And it looks very similar.
It's presented in a similar style. And if you like that, probably like this as well. Yeah. So that's coming really soon.
Yeah. We then got our first TV show trailer of the show in the form of The Witcher Season 3 premiere. That's coming June 29th. And we got a trailer about it. Isn't that fun?
It is fun. It's the final season with your boy in it, Henry Cavill.
Yeah.
I've watched season 1 and 2 of The Witcher, but I feel like I'm indifferent and I'll watch season 3 as well. It's one of those shows where it's like, oh, the new season's out. I'll watch that. And then I'll immediately forget about it and never think of it ever again.
Yeah.
It's good. It's
Mums love it.
Mums love it for
mums.
Some reason. Why do the mums love it? That's
Henry
weird, isn't
Cavill.
it? I don't know. Tell us if you know why the mums love
The
Witcher 3. No, The Witcher Season 3.
Season 3.
Yeah.
Then I seem to have had a stroke because I've written about Witchfire, which is the new witch hunting FPS, but I've written it WOTHC.
Wothk.
I don't know how I've done that.
Wothk hunting.
It's a witch hunting FPS that's entering early access on the 20th of September. We've got a bit of gameplay. Looks relatively interesting. Very much similar to a lot of the first-person shooter magic-y things we've got coming out.
Yeah. I think it's from a studio that's made a few other things as well. Bulletstorm.
Yes.
The Vanishing of Ethan Carter, two very different games.
Yep.
And this is very much more like Bulletstorm.
Yeah.
Bulletstorm? That is the right name? Yeah, okay. I want to keep saying Bullet Hell, but that's a genre. That's not what I mean.
Bulletstorm.
PSVR 2 has a new FPS game, Crossfire Sierra Squad, that is dropping in August. I mean, the trailer for this
about that,
looked so cool. It was more live action than actual gameplay.
Yeah.
It was fine.
We'd already heard about that at the PlayStation showcase, so it wasn't new information.
It's just it's a shooter. It's a shooter. If you like those, it's probably going to be realistic to an extent, I'd have thought. Not really sure.
Then a game that we weren't sure if it was Remnant, but it was Remnant.
It could be Remnant 2.
Remnant 2 is coming to PlayStation 5, PC, and Xbox Series on July 25th.
Yes.
So if you're a fan of Remnant, the second one's coming out very soon.
I played the first Remnant after I went on PS Plus, played it in co-op. It was absolutely fine. But I still enjoyed it in co-op. It's like a Souls-like shooter. And I had a good enough time with it. I will play this, probably not a launch, but it's coming really soon.
Yeah.
Sonic Superstars. That is an announcement of a brand new game.
Yeah.
It's a 4-player, side-scrolling, traditional Sonic game. They showed the sort of original pixel art style, and then there was this sort of newer art style, and they were going between the two almost to suggest, hey, maybe both art styles will be in the game.
Well, it looks like you can change because there was like those pixel squids at one point that you turned into.
Okay, so maybe there is a combination of both.
Like there's different areas that have got different stuff, which is interesting. People were very excited about this. Yeah. Yuji Naka can look at it from prison.
Yes, he can. He's appealing that. He might. If you've not heard, Yuji Naka has now been sentenced to 2 years in prison.
Yeah.
He is appealing. He may not go to prison. Either way,
he wants to play Sonic.
He's probably not involved in this game.
Yeah.
I don't think he's been involved in Sonic for a long time, to be fair. But this is a brand new game, as far as I'm aware.
People are very excited.
4 players.
Yeah.
So you can all get lost as you go well fast.
Yes.
And that.
Exactly. Then the biggest announcement of the night. Honky Star Rail.
Honky Star Rail.
It's finally
coming
to PlayStation 5 in quarter 4 this year.
It's pronounced Honky Star Rail to be clear.
But we call it Honky Star Rail.
We do call it Honky Star Rail.
It's coming to PS5 in quarter 4 this year. Isn't that exciting?
It's very anime-ish inspired. You know, it's one of those games.
You know our opinions on
It's one of those ones. It's one of those ones. So do that. Lies of P is arriving on September the 19th, and a free demo is available right now. I'm not sure which platforms. It's definitely on PS5.
Everything.
It's everything.
PC
Demos
and
on everything.
Xbox. Well, it's not on Switch, but everything
I've downloaded the demo. I haven't had a chance to play it. This is the dark retelling of Pinocchio that's very much like Bloodborne, really, than Dark Souls. And when I saw the gameplay of it, I think last year, it really appealed to me in a way that most Souls-likes don't. And so I'm looking forward to giving the demo a try. I'll talk about it next week on the podcast.
Jiminy Cricket sounds like a Marvel character.
Yeah, Jiminy Cricket was sort of wisecracking at the end. And I was like, oh man, part of me doesn't want this to be a dark retelling of Pinocchio. It could just be a little android boy that's sort of like, it doesn't need to be a retelling of Pinocchio. It could just take themes from Pinocchio. Like he's a boy who's been created and trying to find meaning or something. I don't know.
The whale was like a submarine, so it's not exactly the same. It's not your mum's
It's very
Pinocchio.
different. It's not your mum who loves Henry
Pinocchio.
Cavill's Pinocchio. So there we are.
Then from the creator of Dragon Ball was a new Sandland. That's the name of the game. It's sort of mech, sort of demon. The demons and humans are living in harmony, and it's up to a demon and a human to save the human race.
Yes.
There's no release date for that yet, but it looked interesting. The art style was very nice. It looked very pretty.
Made in Unreal 5, and then a guy in the crowd went, Unreal. It's made in Unreal.
Yeah, he was very excited.
He's so excited about it.
But yeah, that looks pretty good if you're a fan of that kind of game.
Visually looks lovely in Unreal Engine, adapting that sort of art style. I think it's adapted from a manga.
Yes, that is what they said.
So we're all big manga fans here, so we're not familiar, unfortunately, but there we are. Quite exciting, though, is the announcement of another showcase within a showcase, and that's Annapurna Interactive are doing their own showcase. I'm trying to find it on my notes. I've lost it. On June the 29th, so the end of this month, Annapurna has really come into their own as a publisher, I think.
They have.
They first arrived onto the scene, as far as I was aware, from my perspective at least. They came onto my radar with What Remains of Edith Finch.
Yeah.
And that was excellent. And since then, they published loads of really interesting, not quite indie, but sort of indie games, including most recently that
Stray.
we've talked a lot about, Stray. And so surely they'll be showing off some other cool stuff there. That'll be worth tuning into, I think.
Yeah, I think it's really cool that they've got their own showcase coming up. They're kind of one of those studios that have been gradually growing in size and popularity. I kind of feel like Annapurna and Focus Entertainment are really having their rise at the moment in terms of those kind of half indies, half not. And potentially people are hoping for an Xbox release date for Stray, because it's not on Xbox, and that was in the trailer for the showcase, and that's already out. So either there's a DLC coming, or they're announcing it for Xbox as well, which would be great. Then after that, we got a first look at Amazon Games' new MMORPG, Throne and Liberty, that's coming, and they want players. At the end, it said players wanted.
Please.
So that's going to be interesting. Amazon's last MMORPG, I don't know what happened to that. I don't even know the name of it. It was popular for a while, and then, like every live service game, died, I think. People might still be playing it, but I've not had anyone talk about it for about 12 months.
It did. I felt like everyone was talking about it for a month, and then I didn't hear about it again. MMO's not really the kind of game that I have the time for. Excuse me, and I'm certainly not interested in sitting at a PC for hours at a time playing games. That's just not how I personally want to play games. Throne and Liberty it just looked like a fantasy MMO. It's going to find an audience. What will be the real test is whether that audience will stay. And that is true for every new MMO. So we will see. It's got Amazon behind it, but that doesn't guarantee anything with MMOs. So look forward to that, I suppose. You can test it soon. That's why they want players. So go look up Throne and Liberty if you're interested. Warhaven, you've written here, the almost chivalry-looking online medieval war game, but with magic, is arriving autumn 2023.
Yeah, we first thought, we were like, is this Shiv? Is this another Shiv game? And then it cut to gameplay where there was a bunch of men with names above their heads as if they were online, killing each other in various ways, and then a magician at the end of the trailer formed them all back together again.
Yep, I think that's fair. It's not really for me.
Nope, me neither.
But it's coming soon.
Yes.
Party Animals, however.
Yeah.
That's a game I feel like we've known about for years.
I'm almost had convinced myself this game was out.
Yeah, how is it not out?
I thought it was out. The game's already been done. I thought, oh, maybe they're just doing more content for it, because there's a bunch of clips of streamers playing it. But no, it's coming out in September, which... cool. We already thought it was out, but another party game. We're always big fans of those. We like Gang Beasts, that kind of thing. So more than interested to play Party Animals.
Yep.
Then we got another trailer for Crash Team Rumble that's coming out on June 20th. We've already seen a lot about this. It's an online 4v4 thing where you collect Wumpa fruit and then you put them in a bank.
Peter needs to be here for this one. Peter knows all about it.
I mean, I know all about it, but that's basically it. So 4v4, you collect Wumpa fruit, you try and stop the other team from getting Wumpa fruit, you put them in the bank, first team to collect the right amount of Wumpa fruit wins. And there's 2 characters that they announced last night that are coming to
There's a season pass, I think.
Yeah,
something like that.
Yeah, not interested in that even a little bit.
Yeah, we'll see how this one does. Certainly, Peter, I imagine, will be covering it for us when it comes out as the resident Crash fan.
Yeah.
But yes, coming in just a couple of weeks, really, isn't it? 2 weeks' time-ish.
Yeah.
We got a gameplay trailer for Alan Wake 2, which is coming on October the 17th, also at a release date there. So again, another one that's coming quite soon.
Yeah.
I was quite impressed by this gameplay footage because it really shows how they've pivoted into horror more so, I think, than the original game, because I played Alan Wake for the first time last year. Talked about it on this podcast, played the PS4 remaster, or maybe it was the PS5 remaster, actually. And I thought it was... I liked the ideas that it had, but it was definitely of its time. I think I even said that.
Yeah.
I didn't come away from it loving Alan Wake as much as I was hoping I would. But seeing as they have now slightly altered how this is going to play, you got this FBI agent who's investigating
Saga.
these murders. Yes, that's her name. And she goes into there's like the misdirect. She goes into the cabin. There's a spooky noise, and then a deer jumps through, and it's just a deer. And then mere seconds later, a giant man with a deer head on his head bursts through the wall, and she has to kill him with a combination of a torch and the gun.
Yeah. You play as Saga, and sometimes you play as Alan Wake. And the way that they were talking about it was that you can swap at any point between the two. We didn't get to see any of how Alan plays.
No.
But
I hope it's not like the Medium. in that you have to switch between them to solve puzzles, because that was a bit of a momentum halter in that game.
It was a bit. But yeah, looks pretty good. I mean, visually looked pretty.
Did look lovely.
So hopefully
Sam Lake came out to talk about it as well.
He did, and he looked fantastic.
Max Payne in his suit. Lovely stuff.
Yeah, it was great. Then we got a trailer for Warhammer 40k Space Marine 2. There's always a Warhammer 40k game coming out.
There is.
This time it's Space Marines.
Doesn't stop.
You can play, was it 3 people co-op and kill ghoulies.
Hey, after playing a bit of Vermintide, I feel like I'm reformed now.
Well, I've always wanted to play Vermintide, but I kept kind of like snuck under the radar for me. And then every time I see it, I'm like, oh yeah, there was that one I really wanted to play, and then didn't. So maybe Space Marines will reignite my passion to play Vermintide. But that's coming this winter.
Winter. You compared it when we were watching it to Gears of War, mainly because of how large the armor is, but also just because it looks like a big clunky shooter.
Yeah.
And I have heard since then other people say, oh yeah, this is the one that they've described as like being Gears of War adjacent. This is their Gears of War game. So clearly
I'm ahead of
you're
the
an
curve.
expert.
Yeah.
So if you want some Gears of War and you fancy some Warhammer 40k, Space Marine 2 might be the one for you.
Yeah.
Might be the one. Yes, Your Grace. Snowfall. Yes, Your Grace, Snowfall.
There's no comma or
yes, Your Grace, Snowfall. I don't think Your Grace is called Snowfall.
No, it's in
it's
the
a subtitle. Your Grace,
Snowfall.
Yeah, that's coming in 2024. Love the art style.
Yeah,
for this one.
It looks really interesting.
You basically have to run your own kingdom or queendom, and there were clips of you sat on your throne and resolving disputes.
I need potatoes.
Yeah, someone was complaining about their potatoes. You meet with other monarchs and dignitaries, and then there was a bit when you were in an actual battle as well,
and
fighting.
You're building your town up, and then there was battle and stuff. It looks really interesting. It was probably the most visually different of all the stuff that we saw yesterday. So yeah, it stood out amongst everything else.
Yeah.
Then we got horror director / writer John Carpenter's Toxic Commando, which is coming, I don't know when, it was announced. It's apparently an 80s vibe co-op ghoulie fighting game. Ghoulie fighting. I've added the word ghoulie in, but there's like zombies and monsters, and seemingly there's like 4 people you can play in a squad. You can drive in a car, you can shoot, you can punch, you can throw grenades, you can do swords. So there was lots of interesting content there, and it might be a bit cheesy, a bit hammy.
Doesn't take itself very seriously. It was they were cracking wise in the
singing,
trailer and just shooting loads and loads of zombies from their armored truck. That could be a good laugh, that one.
It could be,
depending on how it turns out.
Yes.
Baldur's Gate 3 revealed Jason Isaacs voicing Lord Enver Gortash, which is a great name. The game releases on the 31st of August. I don't think I love Jason Isaacs, but I don't think his character model looks right.
I look so weird.
He's a weird looking dude. Not Jason Isaacs, his character. I think every character that Jason Isaacs should portray from now on should look like, I think it's Field Marshal Zhukov from Death of Stalin, just wearing loads of medals, and he's just furious all the time. That's the only character he should play now.
Well, the weirdest thing about it was that he was basically this guy that, like, he dyed his hair black, like he was wearing a wig, because he was kind of like an older looking guy with like dark black hair that was all scruffy, like almost like Final Fantasy vibes. And at one point he was stood at the light made it like he had like coloured highlights in the back, and I was like, what is happening?
Who is this guy?
He
was wearing this big sort of outfit with a big collar on it. I was talking to Kat, our writer, about it earlier, and she said, well, if it ain't Baroque,
very good.
don't fix it.
Very good.
And I was like, it's too early for this, Cat. It's too early.
Yeah, he looks weird, but hey, the game's coming 31st of August, so we can see if he looks weird the whole way through.
People love that Baldur's Gate.
Then, weird, I think this was so weird.
This was very strange.
The Spider-Man guy came on, I can't remember what his name was, to talk about Spider-Man, and he was like, we're really excited. They showed some like concept art and some like screenshots and stuff. We saw Venom. And then no gameplay, no trailer. They were like, here it is, and it just flashed up the date for the game. So it was a release date for the game. We literally got an extended gameplay look 2 weeks ago from PlayStation. Why they didn't announce it then, I don't know. Whether they're just trying to keep the hype up. But it's coming on the 20th of October. Maybe. I'm still not convinced it's coming. I will be surprised. Colour me pink or whatever it is.
Tickle me
me pink if it comes on 20th of October, but apparently it is. So that was random, but it is coming then.
I would not be surprised if it got pushed to Christmas at this point, because that's the very, very end of the fall period there. This is really strange because one of many complaints about the PlayStation Showcase from the other week was that they didn't give an announcement of the release date for Spider-Man 2 when clearly they already had it.
Yeah.
They had this agreement with Jeff to come on stage and talk a bit about Spider-Man 2. But that just seems like very poor planning on PlayStation's part, given the reception. That why would you want to divide and conquer and just...
I'd almost prefer they did it the other way around. They showed us a little cinematic trailer and then a release date on the that PlayStation. Mm-hmm. And then at this one, they gave us an extended look at the gameplay. That almost to me makes more sense. But
just feels like whoever was in charge didn't think ahead.
No,
that was a strange one. But either way, it's nice. We got to see some art of Venom. We got to see the actual official box art as well, which is Peter and Miles Spidey next to each other, which is, I suppose, expected.
In the red void.
The lovely red void. They showed just a tiny bit of combat, but I couldn't work out
if that was from the same stuff
if that was from earlier or not.
Yeah.
But there we are.
Then a game that we've seen before, and it felt like a fever dream then, and it feels like a fever dream now, is Pokemon but with guns, Power World, which is apparently entering early access 2024. I'm convinced we saw this game last year, either at Summer Game Fest or potentially Gamescom, maybe the Game Awards. But either way, we've seen it before, and they're so close to being Pokemon. In some ways, they look exactly like Pokemon. You almost could be convinced that they are actual Pokemon, but they're carrying around very realistic looking machine guns and AK-47s and rocket launchers and stuff in a world that also looks semi-realistic. So this game, I have no idea what it is. I don't know how they're getting away with it, but it's legally distinct enough because they've got guns that they're allowed to make it.
It's really bizarre.
Really
this weirded us out last time we saw it, and it's still very strange. Happy for them that they're moving towards an actual release, but still early access in January of next year. It's do we really still need to talk about this so soon? It's so far away.
It is far away.
And every time we see it, it's what is this? And that's literally a Lapras with a rocket launcher on its back.
And it's also some of the exact same clips we've seen before.
I think lot of money's exchanged hands here.
Yes, I think so too. But I don't even know who's making it. I don't think it's not a big studio, but
it might be a Chinese studio somewhere making some weird stuff. They love doing that.
They do. And then we got a look at Land of Morning Light for Black Desert, which I assume is a DLC or an extra area on some more story content for fans of Black Desert, which is coming on June 14th.
The Lord of the Rings Return to Moria will be released in autumn 2023. This looks a little bit like what was the name of the game that was on Plus? Deep Rock Galactic? Is that what it was called?
Yeah.
Sort of you're mining in Moria, obviously. I'm not sure if it's online. I assume it is.
We didn't get much info about it.
They didn't show a great deal, but it could be some sort of co-op game. You're mining resources and you're building a little base, but then you're also defending it against orkies and so on. Looked not very pretty,
no,
really at all. I don't know what's going on with the Lord of the Rings license at the moment, but it seems it's fair game for anyone to just sort of make some rubbish. I'm not saying this is rubbish, but I am saying it didn't look very good. It looked like a game from quite a while ago.
Also, I forgot to write it on here, but at one point, Jeff talked about how Porsche, in their 70th anniversary, are teaming up with Xbox to bring out a range of Porsche Xboxes.
Apparently it's 75 Xboxes.
75 Xboxes that you can win if you went to PorscheXboxSweepstake.com or something like that.
Yeah, you can't buy them.
You can't buy them. They look like popcorn boxes.
Loads of stripes.
Loads of stripes. I mean, if you're a fan of Porsche and an Xbox, I mean, I might enter it just because I think it's funny, but yeah, weird.
It's another one of those moments in the showcase where it's like, Jeff, what are you doing?
And it slowed right down again. The pace was just crazy.
What's going on? Have you got the bit on here where he talks about the DoorDash?
No, actually, that's a good point. It's after this next.
Okay, so we'll talk about this. Okay,
yeah.
So we got to see Final Fantasy VII Ever Crisis again, which is a mobile game that seemingly has loads of story bits from Final Fantasy VII.
Every single bit of Final Fantasy game. So Crisis Core, the original Final Fantasy VII, any spin-off games, everything, apparently all in this one game.
But some of it looks sort of realistic and some of it's kind of chibi.
Well, I don't know if they showing what it is in the remake and then showing that it's chibi.
It was a terrible trailer.
It's so weird.
It was really confusing. I don't know what it is.
Apparently, the character models are all in this chibi, like modern version of the original looking character models. Essentially, is what. When I got home, my boyfriend was telling me all about it because he's already apparently signed up for the early access of it because he's really excited. But apparently, it's every single bit of Final Fantasy VII content you could ask for in one handy dandy mobile game that will destroy your phone.
Yeah, I was going to say, I won't be able to play this on my phone. And also, that's the last place I'd want to experience that.
Yeah, exactly. But hopefully now that it's coming out, that everyone could go back to working on other things.
I don't understand it.
And then
what was the segue, Ashton?
Says, oh my God, I think it might be my favorite moment of the show, like by far. He went, now that's not all about Final Fantasy, and everyone was like, what?
Speaking of Final Fantasy,
and everyone got really excited, and he had to go. No,
not that.
Calm down.
Not that.
You can get a free burrito with DoorDash if you type in the code Final Fantasy VII. They did not like him then. They were very
Jeff
upset.
was just smiling from it. How did they not see that?
I don't know.
That it was the way that he segued that was the real issue, because I can think of a dozen different ways he could have transferred into that point that wasn't like getting expectations up for more Final Fantasy now.
Yeah, honestly.
And if you're hungry while playing Final Fantasy VII Ever Crisis, immediately you've set the tone for what you're about to talk about. Yeah. You don't want to tease it like, speaking of Final Fantasy VII, DoorDash.
Honestly, he was lucky that the final reveal was what it was, because otherwise I think he might get mobbed afterwards.
Yeah, they would have run on stage and ripped him apart.
It was so good.
It was a beautiful moment.
Yeah, it was a brilliant moment. Perfect. Then we got another look at Banisher's Ghost of New Eden, which is apparently like a ghost hunting RPG. I'm not really sure from what we've seen. We didn't see much gameplay again, but we've seen this game before. It's got like a very Scottish man and his ghost wife, and those are the two main characters. Again, not a lot of information, but apparently it's coming towards the end of 2023. I don't think we've seen any gameplay for this game. It's only been CG trailers, which is always great.
Did we see a bit last night?
I don't know if we saw a lot. I don't really remember.
It didn't stick out to me. I've heard a few people saying, "Oh, that looked really interesting," but I can't say when I was watching it that it really stood out all that much. But there we are.
Yeah.
Then we got the latest Yakuza / Like a Dragon game, and I'll tell you the name in a minute. But it starts with Kazuma Kiryu, the usual protagonist of the Yakuza games, kneeling there, dressed in sort of casual attire. Then he dresses up as a suit, and he's like some sort of secret agent.
Yeah.
And he's fighting. He opens a big door, and there's like a neon city underground, or there's just a big gate,
fairground looking thing,
and he fights loads of people. He just beats up loads of people with objects like you would expect, and then they announce the name of the game, and it's just it's
so good, man.
Chef's kiss. It's called Like a Dragon Gaiden, the man who erased his name, which is one of the longest names for a game I've ever had.
Catchy
and it's
as
phenomenal.
Well.
It's so good. If you like Yakuza or Like a Dragon, you're going to enjoy this probably. And it's coming on.
Like a Dragon Gaiden,
the man who erased his name. It's coming on the 9th of November as well.
It is. Then we got to look at a sort of spooky underwater submarine style, like, well, I don't really know. Sometimes you're in a submarine, sometimes you're out of a submarine, and it's kind of a spooky. Something's happening under the sea. This guy's been down here for a long time, and it's called Under the Waves. And it's coming August 29th. So we'll see more about that very soon, hopefully.
Looked a bit sort of Soma crossed with Subnautica.
I thought the gameplay looked a bit like Deliver Us Mars, but under the water.
Yeah.
So yeah,
that's going to tick some boxes for sure.
Yeah,
I quite like the look of that. It was interesting.
Yeah.
What do we got here? Call of Duty Modern Warfare and Warzone Season 4 trailer. It's coming June the 14th. I think that's a new map, so get excited if you're still playing Warzone.
Yeah.
Fae Farm.
God, she was so excited to talk about that.
Coming to PC and Switch. Oh yeah, this was the one. Yeah, September the 8th. Sorry, this is the one where the trailer had the voiceover of a woman speaking in the TikTok inflection.
Yeah.
So you do a good impression.
We can't wait to discover what we're gonna discover. Like, she just kept going up.
At
like,
the end of
she
the
was so excited. It wasn't even a sentence, every word, every other word. She was like, we're going to discover what the world has in store. And it's like, what are you saying?
Every single sentence in that trailer was spoken with the same inflection.
I didn't even look at the gameplay.
Infuriating.
Yeah,
to
honestly.
watch.
I don't remember anything about the gameplay or anything at all. I just
We're
remember
going to farm. Meet new friends along the way. It's just the TikTok woman who already speaks like the most unhinged thing ever because it's a Chinese app and so they don't know how to do English vocal patterns. And now people are affecting that in their everyday speech, and that's horrifying. Yeah. And now it's in this trailer. Yeah. Sorry, Faye Farm, but you're already dead to me.
Yeah.
I'm not going to play you.
Then a very excited man who apparently is a big fan of flannel, as in he was wearing a flannel shirt.
Jeff introduced him as like, he's a big fan of flannel. It's like, what?
What?
Is this an in-joke, Jeff?
Yeah. Talked about the new Marvel Snap game mode that's called Conquest.
Okay, you did that. You did it as well there, the inflection. I thought you were going to keep talking.
I know, that's why I like doing it.
It's good. It was very confusing.
So that's coming at some either now or soon.
It was very strange.
It was really weird
encounter between the two of them. They did, what's his name? Pro ZD, or I can't remember what his online handle is, who does the online sketches and stuff, and he played Flack in Borderlands 3.
I can't remember what his name is either.
You'll know him if you see him. You'll know his voice as well. It was just a profoundly strange trailer with him in it, and also the man who came out on stage, like he had a very strange energy.
He was really trying to get Jeff's job. Like he was really like, I know how to work a crowd.
Very enthusiastic, but also in like a sort of uncomfortable way where neither knew how to react to each other.
A scary way.
Yeah, sort of, I don't feel very safe.
Yeah.
Anyway, that's coming. King Arthur Legends Rise is coming to PC and mobile. Sure as Flip looked like a mobile game.
Yeah.
Don't really know much more about that.
We didn't get to see much about that either.
We didn't.
Of the dragon. Then free-to-play Wayfinder is coming to PC, PlayStation 5 and Series X and S later this year. Again, that one we got to see a bit of gameplay for. Just looks the same. The overarching dialogue of the story was like, the world's gonna end if we don't do something about it soon.
The kingdom has fallen into ruin.
And it's just generic story, generic look, generic gameplay, but it's free to play, so I'm sure someone
I sort
will
of
play
lost
it.
my temper a bit at that point in
You
the
did a little
showcase
bit,
because
get
I said I try to be as positive as I can going into these things and give every game the benefit of the doubt, but I've heard that exact the kingdom has fallen into darkness. That generic nonsense, fantasy nonsense. I've heard that countless times on these showcases, and I've never heard of these games again because they just need like a paper thin story to carry. Well, they don't. It doesn't even carry anything. Like the gameplay is what people are going to those games for, but the effort that they put into the story is so minimal that they hit all of them hit the same beats every time. It's just, it does not stand out, and it made me lose my temper a little bit. Anyway, Paradox Arc was announced.
No, Paradox Arc. Announced.
Paradox Arc, announced Stellaris Nexus, which is a turn-based space combat and space trash scavenger game.
No, they announced 2 games.
Oh, for goodness. Okay, you talk about this one.
Stellaris Nexus, which is a turn-based space combat game looking thing. Take over the universe.
Yes, I remember that one.
And then they also announced Space Trash Scavenger.
Yes. I remember this bit because I felt like lots of these game trailers started immediately after each other with no separation, and I was kind of confused about because they were all space ones.
That's why I wrote it like this.
Well, yeah, I mean you've done a perfect homage there because they were all so similar, and there was literally no break in the footage or anything. Like it just rolled, and I was like, "Is this a different game?" I'm really confused. What's happening?
For the Space Trash Scavenger, you're basically just destroying various debris around a planet and collecting things and seemingly building stuff with them. Look pretty cute. And I'm sure people will enjoy that game if you're a big fan of like kind of scavenging games. And then we got a look at a Star Trek game, which people were very excited about.
Brief look.
So brief, but people were very excited about this. Star Trek Infinite, we got a look at a Borg ship and a little look at something else. And then apparently find out more on Picard Day. That's what it said in the trailer.
Any nerds know what that is?
I think it was July something or other. Maybe it was his birthday. I don't know.
Maybe.
But on Picard Day, if you know what it is, you probably
I was going to say that feels like you do not want to attract a new audience to this game because I don't know what Picard Day is.
I think the actual
now,
date was
Star Wars Day. I feel like people know what that is.
Yeah.
However, you would also specify on the 4th of May.
I mean, they did specify on the actual trailer, but I didn't write it
All
down.
you remember
but
is
I just remember, because I hadn't written Picard Day on here either, but I just remember they put like, find out more on Picard Day, and I just remember that being like,
don't know what that is.
So yeah.
Let's talk about what could be one of the worst television shows ever made.
My God.
Or the best television show ever made. We got a trailer for the Twisted Metal TV show, which will begin airing on the 27th of July on Peacock.
My feeling is, if this was they're like, people will love this. If this is like the best that they've got to show, because that's what a trailer is supposed to be, is like get you enticed by showing you something really good.
Yeah.
I'm not impressed.
No. We saw Samoa Joe as Sweet Tooth pinning Anthony Mackie up against a slot machine in an empty casino and sort of threatening him. He's voiced by Will Arnett, Sweet Tooth is. So there's there felt like there was a huge disconnect between Samoa Joe's movements and what Will Arnett was saying. And then they sort of duetted. What was the song that they duetted?
Oh, I have no idea.
It's some sort, like one of them started singing one line and then the others sung the other, and I think it was meant to be funny.
Yeah.
It was truly dreadful.
It's really weird seeing Will Arnett voice an actual human person. Like normally if you see him or you hear someone's voice in like animated TV show, you're like, well, that's him doing a voice for an animated person. But you can see Samoa Joe's mouth moving underneath the mask, and you can hear Will Arnett's voice. And I don't know what Samoa Joe sounds like, but I know what Will Arnett sounds like,
scary.
and I know what he looks like, and he doesn't look like that man. So it's weird, and it just looked crap. Like it looked visually really boring. Like it didn't look even remotely stylized in any way. They were just in an arcade. There wasn't any like neon lights. It was like very well lit. Just looked like they were in like a studio where they just turned all the lights on so they could see what they were doing.
It was a really weird teaser. I feel like it probably did more damage than good, to be honest. I feel like maybe this is almost an inverse Darth Vader situation where they heard David Prowse in the suit and they were like, we got to get James L. Jones and this bad boy to do it. However, here, I genuinely think Samoa Joe has the gravitas to play that character, because people who are familiar with what Joe sounds like, he is one of the better in the world of wrestling, where most of the acting I think is fair. It's fair to describe it as sort of porn level acting. It's not good. Samoa Joe is genuinely believable as like a scary, I'm going to rip your head off kind of guy. And he always turns in, without fail, the best performances in the 2K games that he's been in, when the rest are sort of even more wooden than normal because they're reading off a script. He always stands out. I feel like he could have done a great job. It didn't work for me. I like Will Arnett a lot. It didn't work for me, the combination of the body of Joe and the voice of Will Arnett. And I'm going to watch at least one episode of this. It comes out on your birthday.
It does come out on my birthday.
Because it could be horrible in like a really good way. Like in an entertaining, I can't believe this got made.
I didn't think it looked very good at all. So maybe it will be bad. I like things that are bad.
Yeah, good bad.
In a good way. So yeah, I hope it's bad in a good way. But I don't know anything about Twisted Metal, so I'm not even interested a little bit. But hey, why don't we have a viewing party for the first episode and see if it's really boring?
Yeah, if you want to do that on your birthday, you feel free.
Will do.
Have people over.
Then, a game that I actually thought was potentially one of the most interesting of the show, it was Liz Fanger, something like that.
Yeah.
The Time Shift Warrior, which is coming this year apparently, where there's kind of, it looks a little bit like Hades almost. You kind of run in, you kill one enemy, and then you reverse time and your person goes off and you can do something else and you can solve puzzles and like have a bunch of yourselves out and about fighting while you're doing other stuff. Looks really interesting, to be fair, and hopefully will be interesting when it comes out. But yeah, we haven't got a release date for that yet, but apparently this year, so hopefully, fingers crossed.
We saw some more gameplay for Immortals of Avium and a trailer. We got the actor who came out and had a brief talk about it. Obviously, we, full disclosure, have been paid to talk about Immortals of Avium and cover it on the channel before, so just bear that in mind as we discuss it now. But it looked like it has always looked since they've shown it. It's, it's the first-person shooter magic game. Apparently, you're meant to collect the 3 types of magic.
Colors of magic.
3 colors of magic is what they called it, which is red, blue, green, or red, green, blue.
Maybe yellow.
RGB. And yeah, it looks fast-paced. I don't know. I do not know. I literally cannot tell if this is going to be really rubbish or not. It doesn't truly appeal to me that much.
I feel like I've seen a lot of it and none of it's really hyped me up that much. But this time they had a bunch of HUD on screen, which I didn't like very much.
There was a lot of HUD.
But the game's coming out next month, July 20th. So, and we've only really been talking about it for about 2 months. I don't know if they've just started advertising it, or maybe it was just suddenly being pushed a lot. But yeah, the last 2 months we've seen a lot of trailers for it. Every single showcase. I'm convinced we're going to see it again this week at another show. So yeah, that's coming out next month, and hopefully will be good. But yeah, I don't know yet. I'm not sure.
I'm not extremely hyped about this one. I think it's definitely one I'm going to wait for reviews for before giving a go. But I'm not convinced to jump in day one, even though it has Gina Torres in it and she's great.
Yeah.
There we are.
Then we got a trailer for Fortnite Chapter 4 Season 3,
yes.
Which introduces rideable dinosaurs. And also, we were talking about the dinosaurs over the top of it, but then suddenly a person-sized transformer, who I assume was Optimus Prime, appeared in the game. So you can play as Optimus Prime.
But not big Optimus Prime.
Big Optimus Prime. He's just person-sized.
Do you get to turn into a tiny lorry?
Oh my God, that would be so fun.
That would be very cool.
But it's called The Wilds, and you're in like a big foresty area. The maps collapse is kind of what they were saying.
I love that they can do this stuff. Fortnite just it doesn't appeal to me, but I'm so impressed by how they keep messing around with like the basic rules of how the game works. Yeah, as someone who was stuck in Warzone, in the same map in Warzone for like a year and a half, and then was begging for a new map, and they gave us one, and it was rubbish. And then we just wanted the old one back. There's another new map coming soon. Maybe I'll give that a go. Maybe. Probably not, though. It didn't work last time I played it. Finally, Ashton.
Yeah, the thing you're most excited for.
Final Fantasy VII Rebirth, that's the remake part 2, had a full trailer. It will be released in early 2024, and for some reason, as they bragged, on 2 discs. Now, the last game on PS4 also had 2 discs, but one was an installation disc.
Yeah.
I don't know if that's a similar case here. The fact they're advertising it leads me to believe that maybe it really will be just a gigantic game.
Maybe.
Which would be so exciting because it doesn't feel like... how long has it been? 3 years?
Yeah.
It will have been nearly 4 years since the first part released. That's a long development cycle. Obviously, there was COVID, but you'd have to assume that a lot of the groundwork, a lot of the reason it took so long the first time around is because they were building the game and the world and the combat system and stuff. And now that's done. Obviously, it will be iterated upon, but surely the ransom of the lion's share, of the dev time can be focused on actually building this huge experience. I think in the trailer they only showed up to sort of halfway through where disc 2 normally would be, a fight against Genova on the boat, I believe, roughly. It does also lay the groundworks to further explore, hey, can we diverge from the timeline a little bit? They showed some scenes at the start of Aerith and Tifa and Red 13 being saved by Shinra soldiers pulled from the rubble at the end of the first game, which is not something that happened in the original game at all. And then Sephiroth says some ominous stuff like, oh, well, is the Tifa who is the Tifa Is it actually her? Who's to say? Which
Maybe.
Is not something
and
that was
ever...
ever...
And then she was a cowboy.
Yes, that does happen in the original
Cowboy
game.
Tifa.
That's a flashback.
Yeah.
That bit is a flashback in the original game. But who's to say? Like, are they going to diverge massively? I don't know. It looks like you can play as Red 13. There's like co-op team-up moves in combat. Looks fantastic. Can't wait. Very, very excited.
Yeah, looks good. So it's coming early 2024.
It won't be, to be clear. It's absolutely not coming early 2024. Would not be surprised if we don't get this until the end of next year. But we're getting closer, and that's very exciting.
Yes. And then after that, there was a Devolver Direct,
yes.
Which I wanted to quickly talk about because I watched it last night.
I've not had a chance.
It's unhinged. There's a character called Ronathan Trodfield.
Brilliant.
I love. I
That's
think he's
great.
the best new character they could
Ronathan
Trodfield.
Love
10
it.
out of 10 name. Essentially, they've got a fictional famous character called Volvi, who's like a mouse with a big hand.
I've seen that
They've been like putting on
gamers.
everything. Yeah. So they've basically been like, oh, we tried to kick him out. We kicked Ronathan out and we abandoned Volvi. We tried to change him into be something hip and cool, but now he's back and he's an AI game producing robot.
And what AI games has Volvi produced?
Volvi produced a few AI games that are obviously produced by actual devs. First off, we got a look at a game called Wizard with a Gun, which we got CG and gameplay. Quite a lot of gameplay in this showcase. Admittedly, not as many games, but still all of them seem to be given their time to shine, and they also all got gameplay, which is a co-op survival game where you're playing as wizards that have guns. It looks a little bit like Don't Starve in its art style, and it looks really fun. I think if you're fans of Don't Starve and Don't Starve together, this one could be quite good fun. Then we got a look at a game. We got another look at the Talos Principle 2. We got some more gameplay for that. Another look at the puzzles. They announced that they are making, currently in production, Human Fall Flat 2, which was obviously a big, pretty popular game. Then they also announced a grimy platformer called Sludge Life 2, which was announced during the countdown into the game, which is coming on 27th of June. And then lastly, they announced a game called Baby Steps,
which
is from the creators of Ape Out, which you've watched a trailer for this. It's a literal walking sim where you control the character's legs.
Looks a bit like Quap.
A bit like Quap, but with a very interesting art style. We've got a CG trailer and a bit of gameplay for that. And yeah, it looks fun. It looks like it's funny, and it's got comedy elements. You play as like a 35-year-old man who's been living in his parents' basement and playing video games all the time. He gets sucked into his television. Yeah,
that sounds sick.
The dream. And he's in this like big baby onesie, and he's clambering around these areas. And at one point, you see him slide down a mudslide on a hill, and it just looked fun.
Could be funny. Could also massively outstay its welcome.
Absolutely.
Who's to say?
But hey, I think one thing about Devolver that I really respect is that even if they do these like ridiculous showcases that are framed around like calling out the industry, specifically this year about AI and how people think AI can just replace devs and everything. They have games to announce, and a lot of the time these games that when they come out, people really enjoy them, and they also show a lot of game when they show the games. They give them their time in the spotlight between all this other stuff. And even though normally I feel like sometimes they can get overshadowed, I don't think they did this year. I think they stood out alongside their like comedy. Didn't have that Nina in it. She wasn't in it this year.
Was she not?
No.
Oh,
so
Nina Smothers?
Yeah, she was replaced by Jonathan Trodfield this year as key character. But yeah, I thought it was really good, and I'm really happy that Devolver are getting these showcases and they can show off what they've got. So
I'm going to give it a watch today. I do enjoy them.
I think you'd like it.
Well, there we are. That is, as it stands, all that has happened from Summer Game Fest as an umbrella event so far. Let us know what you think about what's been shown off. Did you enjoy Jeff's big showcase? Did you enjoy Devolver's Direct? We will, if you've listened to this point, be reacting to Future Game Show on Saturday evening at 6 p.m. UK time on YouTube, and the Xbox and Starfield event on Sunday also at 6 p.m. on YouTube. So come and join us if you can, and we'll talk about those in detail on next week's podcast.
Yes, we will. Should I tell you where people can find us?
Please do. I don't think Peter's going to do it.
No, bloody
I can't
slacker. See him. People can find us on youtube.com and twitch.tv/Team TripleJump for all of our video and live stream content. On Twitch, we're modded by Lord Brotovich, Trowling Badger, and Mr. Black. And if you want to use your free Twitch sub that you get with Amazon Prime, you can give it to us, and that would be fantastic. Thanks so much.
It's dead easy.
To find us on Twitter and Facebook, twitter.com and facebook.com/Team TripleJump for all our video and live stream announcements. Facebook with some legacy content on there as well. Thank you to Fraser for managing those. On TikTok, tiktok.com/@Team TripleJump for our ticks and talks. And if you want to join our Patreon, patreon.com/Team TripleJump. We have a website, triplejU.mp, spells jump, it's very clever.
It is.
If you'd like to join Discord, triplej.mup/Discord, chat with our wonderful community. On there, we're modded by Jack, Joe, Tori, and Hollow Eyes. And so to do something, bloody well do it, all right? If you listen to the podcast, it is audio form. Why not go to triplej.mup/podcast? And to catch up on any of our live stream VODs, go to triplej.mup/VODs. To book a cameo from any of us, me, Ben, Peter, or James Jenkins, you can book one from him now. He's currently at download. I'd honestly love to see.
No, he's at Summer Jam Fest.
It's at Summer Jam Fest. I'd love to see him do a cameo from his tent. triplej.mup/cameo. And if you want to buy some sick and cool merch, like that t-shirt, like this jacket, want to go to triplejumpshop.com. Remember, we can't make more until we sell all of our t-shirts.
Yeah, we're nearly there, to be clear. So push us over the line, and then we can do some cool new stuff.
Very good at buying our merch. Thank you so much.
Thank you. You're the best.
And make sure you're following at TripleJump Shop on Twitter for the latest merch announcements.
Yes. Absolutely. Why not follow Peter and Ashton on Instagram and Twitter at that Peter Austin and at Scrambled Ashton, and myself just on Twitter at confused_dude. We do lists every Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, streams every Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, Thursday being the joint stream.
Plays it.
Also on Twitch. All of them are on Twitch.
Apart from the reaction streams, which are on YouTube.
Yeah, big streams will still be on YouTube, as has been the case this week. Worst Games Ever is fortnightly, Friday for patrons of a certain tier, Sunday for everyone else. It is a Worst Games Ever week. Patrons, you will have had an episode yesterday at the time of release. Weirdest Games Ever is monthly, a week early for patrons. It's a Weirdest Games Ever week if you're a patron, next week for everybody else. The After Dark podcast is fortnightly on Monday for patrons. There's one coming up on Monday. Look forward to it, patrons. It's a good discussion. The podcast is every Saturday, and we do shows all the bloody time, some of which we're about to tell you about. In about a moment.
Yes.
Why not leave a 5-star review on your platform of choice? It helps something to do with Al Gore's rhythms. It's free, and it helps us out a lot. So thank you very much in advance.
As previously mentioned earlier in the podcast, we have released a video about E3. What went wrong?
What went wrong with E3?
James did a great job researching this.
Yeah.
Ben did a great job presenting this.
Thank you very much, Ashley.
So you should check that out and see what went wrong.
It's on
Find
the channel
out.
now. Share it about.
It's the perfect time to talk about it in the middle of Jeff Keighley's I Killed E3 Summer Game Fest.
Yes.
Also this week, Ben, it's Worst Games Ever week.
It's a Worst Games Ever week. We're playing Saw 2. I think it's called Flesh and Blood is the subtitle. It's
Delicious.
rubbish, but it is out now for patrons and out for everybody else on Sunday. It's quite a comedically bad game, and it's got a little jigsaw in it and stuff. You should go watch it. Of course, the live reactions to Future Game Show and Xbox will be on our VODs channel after the fact, but do come check us out live on Saturday and Sunday at 6 p.m. UK time if you can.
Chat with us. Our chat is much more nice than the live chat for the streams.
Yeah, you don't want to be in the live chat for the streams. Come hang out.
with us.
Either just watch it in silence with us or put it on one screne and have us on the other. You can do both if you
can.
want. Finally, there's just enough time to talk about this week's sponsor, Ashton. Do you remember what it is?
I do. It is, of course, Summer Jame Fest, singular, where all the Jameses get together. Jeff Keighley is supposed to host it, but he's too busy.
Yeah. He is too busy.
What
And
about
that's
it?
fair enough.
Yeah.
Thank you so much for watching / listening. We'll see you next time. Bye.
Bye-bye.